weeks of the season, you're not getting really a true sense because you're not playing against teams.
To get the rest of what Doug said, podcast it by searching The Doug Gottlieb Show. And
it's time.
You know what time it is?
The game for Tuscaloosa's longest running sports show.
The biggest goal of our team,
especially in the first half,
we at Bama, we're trying to be the best. Always is to win a national championship.
Something cool to look back on.
We don't want to waste a failure.
You're inside the game.
John Mechie on the ground.
Appreciate your interest in the game.
On your home for Alabama sports.
Alabama wins.
Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. Powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota. Now, here's your award-winning host, Ryan Fowler.
Norman, Oklahoma, where dreams go to die. Brent Venables, you've done it to the Crimson Tide before, and you've done it again. 24-3. Wow. Did anybody see that coming? I look at the score prediction sheet. If you did not participate in our Southern Ale House score prediction day. Jalen Milroe, 11-26 for 164 yards, 0 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, a completion percentage of 42 and 72.2. Not his best day. He would probably love to take those tapes and burn them up, throw them away, but you're not able to because everything counts in the world of college football, and not his best performance when you look at Norman, Oklahoma. But I think you could almost say that about the offensive line. You could say that about C.J. Dupree. You could say that about the drops. And today we're going to have a discussion. We're going to talk about it. We're going to take your phone calls. We'll talk to Drew DeArmond coming up in about Jackson. Save a line for Drew, if you don't mind, because I know the phone lines are going to be jammed. Save a line over there for Drew. We'll talk with him at 2:15. We've got tons of Kalen DeBoer audio. It seems like Auburn is talking, which is perfect, right? Somebody needs to poke the bear. Somebody needs to get this team fired up, because that was my most concerning. And listen, we're gonna do the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good is sponsored by Daniel Moore Art, DanielMooreArt.com, and the bad and the ugly is sponsored by just the lackluster performance from the Alabama Crimson Tide. I look back, and if you would have said, Ryan, Alabama's going to go to Norman, Oklahoma, they're going to score 3 points, I would have literally bet my entire mortgage on, not just the mortgage, I'd have bet the house, okay? I mean, they say bet the house. I would have bet the house that Alabama would have played better than that. I mean, you had everything lined up for you, right? Missouri beats Mississippi State 15 minutes prior to your game. Not that you're over watching it on television. You're prepared and trying to get mentally locked in. But Alabama, not the performance. And, there's going to be a lot of crow served around here. Jackson, if you could find a good plate of crow for me, please serve it up. I've been a guy that I thought we were seeing a lot of steps in the right direction, and this game kind of proved that maybe not so much. Does that make me give up on the future? Absolutely not. I think this Alabama football team is in good hands. Will they make some adjustments? I would probably expect that they will make some adjustments, but when you look at just the energy, that was the part that the nonverbals, right? You're watching players, you're watching things on the communication side. And I know we're going to get to the officials, and that's fair, right? I think it's fair. You look at the SEC officials, I think Greg Sankey did a couple of weeks ago by going on the SEC networks. I think in a lot of ways he was gaslighting, right? I think he knows that he's not where he needs to be. We have a shortage of officials, but that doesn't mean that you excuse plays like that. I mean, that is one of those. But listen, Alabama did not lose because of the guys in stripes. They lost because of the guys wearing those white uniforms, those road whites. I mean, that's why Alabama lost. Listen, it was a frustrating, and who knows? You score that touchdown, you make it a little respectable. Because when you look at 24-3, for those who didn't watch it, you're going, hold on, there's got to be a misprint. But when you look at that call, that's one that, it is embarrassing. I mean, it's embarrassing to the league, and I also would love to see us transparent. I would love to see the SEC come out and say, guys, we missed that one, man. That was a bad call, and we screwed up, and Alabama, we're sorry. Would it make us feel any better? Absolutely not. But it would also create some accountability, and right now we don't have that because everything happens discussion-wise behind the scenes. Kalen DeBoer was asked about that a few minutes ago in the press conference. I just left the football building. He was asked about that. Could not, and he can't do it in a public platform. He can't say it because what would happen is they fine him. Why is that? Jackson, you and I don't get into it a lot, but if your poor performance, which is rare, And if I critique you and I say, Jackson, I need more, man. I need more. Don't take that offensive. I just need more. You look at me and you say, Ryan, you got to clean on those brakes, man. You got to do your better job. I take that and I learn from it. The SEC is immune to that criticism. We almost have like this big bulletproof shield above them, and they're like, no, you cannot criticize these guys. No, you cannot criticize. Listen, and people go, well, they're only paid this. Well, then pay them more. Go get better officials. This is not acceptable. And what now has created, because we have more parity in the game than we've ever had in the game. And when you look at this, officials are going to have now more pressure. You're going to have to get more pressure on these guys, because these calls that you were able to overcome, now you're not able to overcome them. And so we put more responsibility on the guys wearing stripes to call it in a better way, not make those mistakes on that Ryan Williams catch. Jackson, you're itching. Go for it. Go for it. Let it rip.
I mean, it's not just criticism. It's constructive criticism, and it's necessary. It's needed. If you can criticize your own football team, then you should be able to criticize your own league's referees when they screw up.
And bring them into the media room. I've said it, the Pac-12 used to be the Pac-12. They did it right. They brought that lead official in there, and they said, in a pool reporter, not in a general press conference, but, hey, explain what you saw here. Maybe there's something with Jeremy Bernard that maybe they heard verbally that they could explain. And transparency is the key, whether we're talking about government inefficiency or government efficiency, or whether we're talking about, running a local school board. We're looking at officials going, we must place accountability. So the ugly is brought to you by the SEC officials. I'm sorry. I look at it. Would that have made the difference in the game? No. I think Alabama's going to get beat anyway. But who knows? If you score that touchdown, you've got a little momentum.
It's a different ball game.
That ball may bounce a little bit funny. It may bounce a little bit funny. Who knows? You may attempt an onside kick. You get that back. You score. Now we're talking about a one-score ball game. So it's not the reason why you lost, but it took away a lot of that momentum in that game. And at some point, going back to the instant replay system, we have to implement something where we create more accountability. So we're going to talk about it. Like I said, I'm looking at it from a lot of different standpoints. I'm not blaming it all on one player. That's not what we do here. But listen, we also praise a lot of guys, and we give a lot of credit. The quarterback gets all the praise. He gets all the criticism. But Jalen Milroe, not his best day. It was a day, and I go back to the interception. And we're going to play Kalen DeBoer coming up in a couple of minutes. And for him, the way that the pick six, it was one that I think we would have loved to have been able to see a little bit more effort out of Jalen Milroe. We would have loved to see a little bit. He's a guy that mentally, the confidence, if it ever shakes, if it ever cracks, it'll just keep cracking, because he has to reestablish that confidence, and maybe that played a role in that. He's a psychological guy. If he's high, it's great. If he's low, he's really, really low. And I think at that moment, that particular play was one that, it's unacceptable. It is unacceptable for you not to be able to put more effort into that moment. So that was a little bit of a, I don't want to say embarrassing, but it was a moment that it kind of identified that he was at a low. And at that point, if you're Nick Sheridan, do you plug in another quarterback? Do you put him on the bench? Do you say, you know what? But then, is Ty Simpson ready? I don't know. I mean, we've seen him in action where he's looked like, but we've also seen him at opportunities when the other team has just been completely punched in the mouth. So we're going to get into it. Drew DeArmond coming up in a couple of minutes. Barrett Sallee at 3:30, and then we'll talk to Martin Houston at 4. We're going to midnight. I don't know if I've told anybody, but we're not going to stop at 6. We're going all the way to midnight, so we'll take your phone calls. I'm just kidding. Jackson's looking at me like, no, I got partying to do, man. I got Monday Night Football. No, we'll be out here at 6, but we're going to squeeze in a lot of phone calls. Let me look up at the call. 24-3. We are always powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. The good, the bad, and the ugly. The good is sponsored by DanielMooreArt.com. The bad and the ugly is sponsored by Alabama's Performance and the Southeastern Conference officials. We appreciate Greg Sankey for chipping in. Thank you, Greg. We appreciate that. We're looking at you. We need more accountability. I know I've went into that. I'll ask Drew about it, but we're going to talk about the game. Listen, Alabama did not lose because the guys in stripes. Alabama lost because they went to Oklahoma and didn't have the mindset that it takes to win on the road. Okay, let's just call it the way it is. I mean, that's what happened. Alabama has not been a good road team other than the trip to Baton Rouge. When you look at it, I mean, this is, you look at it at home, they play much different. Let's go to Drew DeArmond, 97.7 The Zone up in Huntsville. Hey, Drew, hope all is well, man. Welcome into the game in Tuscaloosa.
I'm doing well, Ryan. How are you?
I'm good. I know you got a lot of things to do. You're working some basketball games, and as we enter the Thanksgiving week, but I want to go into just your general thoughts. I don't want to box you into a question, but your number one takeaway from Alabama's performance in Norman, Oklahoma.
Well, they just looked unprepared. They weren't physical. They didn't play good football. Once again, the coaching staff didn't adjust, at least quickly enough. That's been my biggest question about them is when things have not gone well initially with the plan, which in my opinion has happened 3 times, they have not done a good job of adjusting. I think in this game against OU, they finally started doing some of that in the second half. Offensively, they started running the ball more conventionally with the back, and Milroe hit a throw to move the chains to Kobe Prentice, and at this point it was only a 10-3 game, but you've got to do the little things right. Prentice missed the block, and then Milroe, for some odd reason, it's almost like he threw the ball without even looking, didn't see that there was a block miss, that he throws it out there to a defender that he should have been able to see. It's one of those things where the play was blown up, so you should have just thrown it away or improvised and scrambled, but did not. And then we all know what happened on the next series. The game was over because it was the Texas, situation all over again, where he telegraphs the pass, throws a pick six, gives a half-assed effort, which was uncaptain-like to try to tackle the guy, and it's 24-3, and basically the game's over. I mean, the one thing about this team I can say beyond equivocation is they have only responded to adversity once all year, and that was against Georgia when they hit a deep ball to Ryan Williams to quickly counter Georgia's ability to take the lead, and they scored what turned out to be the winning points because we all know that Alabama got the turnover at the end of the game into the end zone. They got the pick from Zabian Brown. But other than that, this team has not shown a lot of mental toughness, and so it's going to be really interesting. I mean, Auburn's coming in here with a losing record, but they have played a lot of close games. They've got a freshman class that's played more and more as the season's gone on, and one of them basically just guaranteed he's never going to lose to Alabama and said he was going to personally shut down their offense, and DeMarcus Riddick. So I hope Alabama's got some pride. I hope they understand that this is an Auburn team that, they've got a 3-game winning streak. These seniors have a chance to go undefeated against Auburn, which is hard to do, and they've got a chance to send them home for the 4th straight year with no bowl win and with a losing record. So there's still things to play for Alabama. There's a lot of guys, I believe 19 seniors that are never going to play in this stadium again, probably some others as well that are going to move on. So do you want to go out with a win over your biggest rival? I think Tennessee is, to me, it's the most heated rivalry, but this is the in-state rival. This is the one you compete with day in and day out. It's why it's the best rivalry in college football. It's a series that Nick Saban and Coach Bryant controlled, and when you do that, you stay at Alabama. When you don't win the Iron Bowl and when you don't beat Tennessee, and this coaching staff has already laid a turd against Tennessee, then you end up, you don't last here long. So I think, from hearing Kalen DeBoer today, I think he understands what the Iron Bowl means. You would hope so. You would hope these players would too, and that they would step up inside Bryant-Denny Stadium and give one of their best efforts of the season.
All right, so when you look at, I definitely want to talk about the Auburn game, but I want to go back to Jalen Milroe and his performance up to this point. We're talking about going into the 11th game. Why can there not be more to Jalen Milroe's game? Because you talk about taking away what you do, there should be an adjustment period. Why are they not able to do this? Is this simply Jalen Milroe's skill set that there is no adjustment there, or is this more on the coaching staff? How do you see it?
Well, I mean, I think as soon as after the second series, when it became obvious that everything was rotating around 4, I'm talking about from an Oklahoma perspective, then and they were going to definitely take away the called QB runs, then I think you have to do it in a different way. I think you have to loosen the defense up. I think you've got to, even move the pocket some, but I think really you've just got to start trying to, to me it looked like they were loading the box. So you take running backs, you take tight ends, wide receivers, you attack the middle of the field with slant, with, circle the backside of the backfield, and then you just basically throw it over the top of the linebackers, and I thought the middle of the field was open. I thought they could have hurt Oklahoma that way and loosened it up. And I know at times Milroe's game his strength is not short to intermediate passing, but I think that's what they were forcing you to do. And then, if you do that, then I think you can settle yourself down a little bit. The short passing game is like a running game, get a few first downs. And then, like I said, I thought they were successful when they did traditional runs, when they ran the football with the back, certainly with Jam Miller, Justice Haynes, before he went out, Richard Young. I thought they were starting to get some movement there. And I think it would have, and I think if they hadn't turned the football over, I would have been interested to see, what they needed, if they had continued to work. But the key, like I said on your show last week, I thought the keys were, and it's what they had done the last 2 weeks, and it was what was very encouraging, is, Milroe had protected the ball, they had used his legs, and they had outrushed the other team with a running attack. It's not just Milroe; it's got different aspects to it. The wide receivers with the shifts and the motion, the running backs, Jalen Milroe, and then I felt like they needed to win the plus minus. They got the early turnover, and that's how they took a 3-0 lead that was very closely very close to being a 7-0 lead. But I thought after that, it was just a disaster. They did not run the football well. They got outrushed. They got outplayed in the trenches on both sides of the ball. And then I'll tell you what, they lost the turnover battle with those 2 catastrophic turnovers, because that allowed Oklahoma to not even have to throw the football, Ryan. It didn't put any pressure on Jackson Arnold. He was just able to run the football. Now, I thought Alabama, as the second half went on, they shut it down and they were able to get the ball back for the offense, but they were already 3 touchdowns down. And then when they finally did make a play, Mo, Larry, and Curley showed their faces and blew a call. But you've dug yourself a hole by then, man.
Sure,
and
great point.
There was no reason to have dug yourself a hole like that. You didn't come out with your mind right, ready to play, and that's what Alabama has to face right now. To be honest with you, it was a complete and total failure in all 3 phases. Their plans were not good, and it's very concerning going into this huge rivalry game with Auburn coming into your house and trying to qualify for a bowl game and thinking that they can, make a statement going into Hugh Freeze's 3rd year.
Well, but the thing that you're playing for, and this is forget about the playoffs. If something happens and somehow you're able to backdoor this thing, I'm not sure I'm in that club that think that you could slip in the back door, but I guess mathematically there's still a way, right? It'd take a lot of help and a lot of chaos, but the world of chaos in college football seems to be more frequent now than it ever has been before. But when you look at this Iron Bowl, forget about all that stuff. Forget about all of that crap, okay? This is the Iron Bowl, okay? They're smelling blood in the water. They feel like they can come in. And it's not just when you listen to the audio from DeMarcus Riddick. It's what he tells you what they're thinking. They see where they think. It's not about what he said about Ryan Williams. It's about what they're looking at going, you know what? We can go in there and beat an Olympic Alabama team. We can save our season. And for Kalen DeBoer and this coaching staff, slam the door in their face. Beat them like a drum. I don't know if this Alabama team has it in it, because the part that I go back to, the 24-3 loss, it was the energy that was there. You're playing for a chance to win an SEC title or an opportunity to go win an SEC title. You're playing for a college football playoff appearance. The nonverbals that I saw from that football team is my biggest concern today. It is the effort that you should have had a little bit better locked in, that you're playing for a lot of things that maybe in the early part of the season we didn't even think was possible.
Well, we knew it was very questionable after the the loss against Tennessee, no doubt. But then things started to work out. They responded well against LSU and blew them out of Red Stick. And then, you always worry about their mindset, even against an overmatched opponent like Mercer, and letting a team like that hang around, which they did not. So that's what was the most surprising. I thought they were playing their best football. I thought they were handling business.
Me too.
I thought that they would handle business against Oklahoma. I knew it'd be tough for a half. I mean, Oklahoma has a good front and a good defense. I've already seen it. So, but I thought Alabama would be able to swap paint with them, would be physical, and it would be difficult for Oklahoma to score. And then I thought Alabama could figure some things out by adjusting on offense. And I guess that's my biggest question. Can this staff adjust? How will they attack Auburn? How will they defend Auburn? They're the more talented team. This Auburn team has improved at times this year. There's no doubt about it. And they could have won 2 or 3 more games easily, no question about it. But they're not as talented as Alabama. Even Hugh Freeze said so today himself. Though, he also said, they had they've got a deeper roster this year, but they had a deeper roster last year, and we had a chance to win. So they think they're going to just waltz in and beat Alabama for the first time in Bryant-Denny Stadium since 2010. And if you're the Crimson Tide, that should anger you. That should show you that, and if you're the seniors of this group and the older upperclassmen, there's no way I want to go out in my last game in Bryant-Denny Stadium playing poorly and losing to it. And I'll be honest with you, I'll just say it. This is not a good Auburn football team, okay? Let's just be blunt there. This is not an 8-3, 9-2 Auburn team that's coming in. They're 5-6, for goodness sake. Now, have they played some good football at times? Yes, they have. And they've given themselves a chance to beat some good opponents. And they finally closed the deal to get their second conference win against Texas A&M. No question about that as well. Texas A&M's had a pretty good year, but, A&M down the stretch hasn't been as good either. They certainly got whipped by South Carolina on the road, and then while they battled, they dug a 21-0 hole against Auburn. You've got to admire them for having a chance to win in the fourth quarter in the overtimes by coming back. But still, the Auburn came out like a house of fire. So, all I know is this, that Alabama, if they play up to their capabilities, if this coaching staff can earn the money that they're being paid and they're being very handsomely compensated, then they should be able to put together a game plan, motivate their team to win this game. If they cannot, that means in year one they lost to Tennessee and to Auburn. That is not good. It doesn't set a good precedent. And we've seen coaches coach at the University of Alabama. That there's one thing that still is self-evident. When Nick Saban was here his first year, he split. He beat Tennessee like a yard dog. He owned them his whole time in Tuscaloosa. And then he lost a close game to Auburn. Well, they've lost a close game to Tennessee, this staff. They need to beat Auburn because Nick Saban understood it. If you don't beat Auburn and Tennessee with regularity at the University of Alabama, you will not be at the University of Alabama, and that's a guarantee.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's, and I think that Kalen DeBoer understands that. You heard him say all the right things, but it's all about this team, right? I mean, how bad does this team want it?
Yeah, that to me that's exactly what it is. How bad do you want it? You just had DeMarcus Riddick basically say,
well, I want to add another one to it. I'm sure you've probably seen this. Cam Coleman just said it a couple of minutes ago. There's a quote coming out of On 3, quote, really a revenge tour. We're going in their place. We're really just going to their crib, and we're just going to take over, and we're going to have fun while we're doing it. This is going to be some of the last memories we make with each other, so let's go out and make it a memorable game, end quote. Cam Coleman now added to the fire. I mean, this guy, listen, you got 2 players over here. If Alabama players have anything between their legs, they'll come out and play a different game on Saturday. We're going to find out what this team is made of. Because if you got a rival like this that keeps poking the bear, we've seen the effort at Oklahoma. But if this is the team that we think that they're capable of, then they'll respond the right way. If not, they'll lay down and let Auburn kick them in the teeth.
I mean, I'll just say this: it's the most bulletin board material I've ever seen from an Auburn team. We didn't even see it last year when Alabama was going down to Jordan-Hare Stadium, which we all know Nick Saban said it on Saturday. He talked about coaching 17 years at Alabama, and you know, we all know that he had a winning record at Auburn, but as he put it, it's a really a tough place to play, and you know, it's almost like it's haunted. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, he coached there in 07, lost. He did win in 09 and 2011. He lost in that classic game in 13. He won in 15 and 7, and then he loses in 17. Comes back, wins the national championship. We know it was a crazy 48-45 game in 19. And then the last two games he won in 21 and 23 were two of the craziest finishes we've ever seen. But like you said, it's a very, very tough place to win. And we didn't even hear Auburn giving Alabama a bunch of bulletin board material last year. But I will say the bulletin board material is coming from freshmen. And that's why a lot of times Nick Saban didn't let freshmen talk to the media, because a lot of times they start, feeling themselves and sowing their oats. And certainly the last 2 weeks, Cam Coleman has put up numbers. He didn't have a great freshman year before the last two games. Now, Booger McFarland said something that was one of the dumbest things I've heard somebody in the media say, and that's saying a lot. You know, Coleman made a big-time touchdown catch on Saturday, and he said Cam Coleman was the best freshman wide receiver in the SEC. There's another one that wears number 2 at Alabama that I think's been just a little bit better than Cam Coleman. And if I were that young man, I would take a little bit of offense to that. But it also shows that Booger McFarland, while he's paid to be an analyst, probably couldn't analyze a cow going to the bathroom.
Drew DeArmond, 97.7 The Zone. Drew, I want to take just a minute to say thank you for all the great interviews throughout this college football season. It's sad that we're getting to the regular season in the end, and we'll see what Alabama's postseason looks like. But I want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully you have plenty of ham, plenty of turkey, and we'll have some fun, hopefully in Saturday, watching Alabama kick Auburn to the tee. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate you. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you for the time, Ryan. Always enjoy it. I have picked 28-20 Alabama. We'll see if that holds. I do think it's going to be a very interesting Iron Bowl and Iron Bowl week. We're going to be getting together in Good Hope, Alabama as a family to have Thanksgiving. I hope you and your family have an outstanding Thanksgiving as well. And all the listeners also, always appreciate being on Tide 109 and talking a little ball with you. Everybody be safe, have a happy Thanksgiving, and look forward to being in Tuscaloosa for the Iron Bowl on Saturday.
Hey, thank you, Drew. Appreciate you, man. Let's just continue. We're talking about it. We're taking your good, the bad, and the ugly. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Man, we got a lot of things to talk about, a lot of things to discuss. We'll do it coming up. We'll get Greg and Athens first up. T-Town top play their best football. No, it was one of the worst games that I've seen in double-digit years here. I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen an Alabama team go on the road, and with everything to play for, right? A chance to go to the SEC title game, a chance to go to the college football playoff. When you look at this performance, unacceptable. We're going to see how this team responds, and we'll see the Iron Bowl. But we'll get to the Iron Bowl. I know we're a shortened week. We'll miss Thursday. We'll be here Wednesday. We'll be here Friday. It's our Iron Bowl week, right? It's Alabama and Auburn. But you look back at all this bulletin board material, it's providing some content, but I don't even think you need this. I mean, if you need this to get up for the Alabama and Auburn, you might not be at the right place. Like, if this is what amps you up, yeah, you can use it, but you shouldn't have needed it. Your gas tank should already be full. Okay? You just got your teeth kicked in at Oklahoma. To me, I don't care who you play. But now you play Auburn, you should amp it up a little bit more. Let's go to Kalen DeBoer. Jackson, if you've got the audio ready on the Jalen Milroe side of things, because this is one of those that just identifies say it again one more time. I want to go Jalen Milroe on the effort on the interception. I believe it's labeled there. If you see it there, let me know and give me a thumbs up. All right, you got it. Let's go. Kalen DeBoer talking about, because it's not just this moment. It's when you look at the skill set of Jalen Milroe, and we talked about this in the first 4 or 5 minutes of the show. This, to me, is not a play that Jalen Milroe should be able to make this play with his eyes closed. He is a God-gifted athlete. There is no way. And to me, when you look at this play, you question effort. You question the want to. You throw an interception, now you got to go get the guy on the ground. Kalen DeBoer was asked about this a couple of hours ago, and this is how the head coach at the University of Alabama addressed this.
Coach, when you went back and watched video of the game, what did you think of the effort that Jalen gave on the tackle on the pick six?
Yeah, I mean, he's got to find a way to get him out. He's a good enough athlete to where either using the sideline or forcing a cutback, it's not something you spend a lot of time practicing. That's not a position he's in. He's got to find a way to get him out of bounds. And so I think I trust Jalen to do a lot of things, and I trust that he can get him down. And so, find a way to get the defense out there, find some way possible, hold them to a field goal. Those are things we want to try to do. But, it's not something you practice a lot, and I blow the whistle dead every time. Obviously, I don't want guys tackling each other in practice, especially the quarterback. So find a way, that's what I would say.
That podium tap is a lot of what you hear. He wanted to say something more, right? I mean, that is a moment when you look back at that game where it showed you that he didn't deserve to be in the quarterback. I mean, that quarterback job is a prestigious job at the University of Alabama. You should have put his butt on the bench and said, listen, if you're not going to show effort, we're going to put somebody else in. I'm not saying it will work, but Jalen Milroe probably should have got the bench right there. To me, that's a moment that I look back and I question effort. You have heard me be very pro Jalen Milroe because I do think that he's the best for this team. Do I think he's got a lot of issues? Absolutely. We could sit here until dark 30 tomorrow and we could address the issues of, literally we could spend hours tomorrow, never go off the air, and we could address his issues because he's got plenty of them. But for this team, I think he is the best quarterback that it is for this team. Will that offensive line having a lot of growing pains? Mobility has been an asset. Is he where he needs to be? I'll say this. I know that we have blamed everybody and their brother for Jalen Milroe struggling, okay? We threw the greatest football coach in the history of college football under the bus. We did. And we as a group, when you look at Nick Saban, we question him. We question Tommy Rees, and that's probably fair. We questioned Bill O'Brien. We threw Bill O'Brien under the bus, right? We backed over him, ran over him, and threw him out again. And now we're working on two other people, and that's Nick Sheridan and Kalen DeBoer. What's the common denominator? I'll let you answer that question. Let's go to Greg in Athens. Greg, good afternoon. You're in the game.
Good afternoon, Ryan. Thank you for taking my call. I watched that game, and I was angry, disappointed. At one point, just kind of not really want to watch an implosion like it was going on, but I stuck it out. Look, Jalen Milroe this year, and you touched on this briefly earlier, he has a high ceiling and a very low floor.
Absolutely.
And every game, if you watch every game that he's played this year, in the first drive or two, you know that he's either going to win this game or lose it because he doesn't turn the switch on automatically in the middle of the game and get better, all right? If he's good, he's going to be good at the beginning. If he's not, this isn't like last year when, Tennessee came to town and they were up, like 20-3 or 20-0, and he brought them back. He's not capable of that this year for whatever reason. And this team was so unprepared. When I was watching it, in the first half especially, I thought I was watching a reverse of the game that was us against LSU. Where Jalen was just doing whatever he wanted to, and now it bit us in the rear because we're watching that being on the losing end of a quarterback who is not anywhere near as talented as Jalen Milroe, and we're giving him the center stage like, he's Michael Vick running around.
All right, so when you look at Jalen Milroe, how much of this loss do you think is on him? I know you win as a team, lose as a team, but when you look at the number one reason why Alabama lost, was it his performance?
Well, certainly his performance is really indicative of the moment. When he threw that first interception, he ran the guy down and basically brought him down with his arm, and so I did not understand his inability or unwillingness to do that. The second thing that I think contributed to this was unwillingness on the part of Kane Womack, especially in the first half, to adjust. You know, in the 3 losses that we've had, it's like they refuse to make any adjustments. And your plan looks to me like a pass-based defense, and they're not really throwing the ball. You know, if you went to that game and said, we're going to stop your run game and you're going to have to beat us passing, we're not having this conversation today. But Oklahoma did that. They said, whatever you do, Jalen Milroe is not going to beat us on the ground.
Yeah. But think about this, okay? And you could say, well, Nick Sheridan and Kalen DeBoer didn't have a rebuttal, but doesn't it tell you when they take away what Jalen Milroe's strengths are, that he has nothing else to fall back? So in other words, we know what you did well. We're going to take that away from you. What adjustments do you have?
The only thing they could have done, and that's indicative of what you just said about Jalen Milroe, is that anytime they ran Jam Miller, he did well, especially running between the tackles. You know, they weren't going to stop our running backs, but we only ran them, I think, 16 or 18 times together. And, but that's the thing. See, that's the thing about this team, Ryan. We had this conversation after the Tennessee game. This team is not built to run what they want the team to do offensively or defensively. And you're trying to make the best out of the situation that you have. All right. And so, when you don't have a quarterback that can do what you want to run your offense the way you ran it in the past, then it's not going to be the same, and you're not going to have the same results. You know, Kalen DeBoer is the guy he is because he always had quarterbacks to run the system the way it was designed to go. This is the first time he's had to deal with someone who doesn't have the skill set. And the fact that he didn't put anybody in before or after that second interception indicates to me that he doesn't have confidence in anybody else there at this point in time.
That's right. I mean,
to make a change.
And I'm not saying that Jalen Milroe's not the guy that Alabama needs. Alabama needs Jalen Milroe to perform at a level, but it tells me a lot when you're going into your second season and you're in your final almost your second to last final season in regular season game, and they can't add more to that. That they had no other options there. That tells me a lot.
His ceiling is limited. Okay? So he has to fit within a very narrow bandwidth of what they want to do.
Sure.
And if you take away that ability to run, then he loses his composure. You know, he had all the composure in the world when he played against Missouri, when he played against LSU, and when he played against Mercer. But as soon as he hit the wall, it's like, why is he making that cut? There were a couple of times when he made throws. There was one time where Ryan Williams was streaking down the middle of the field, and he hit someone like on a 8 or 10 yard pass, and they dropped it, and Ryan Williams was 5 yards in front of the nearest DB and could have streaked into the end zone. So he's when he gets shocked, it affects him, you know, and he's not able to get out of it in the game. And
but that position, you've got to have a mental side of him that is stronger than what we're seeing. I don't know if you can play the position with that type of, because interception is just part of the game.
Yes. I think one of the other reasons why they lost this game, other than a lack of preparedness and their performance, is they are probably reading all the billboard material that's pumping them up, because everybody, including myself, we're talking about we're going to take care of Oklahoma, then we'll take care of the barn, and then we'll be in the playoffs. We'll go to the SEC championship game, and then let the chips fall where they may. Well, that is not really an option now, and so what they have to do is get themselves right in their minds and in their practice, and get ready to play Auburn. Now, here's the thing: if you want to look at historical trends, because they matter, the nonsense, the silliness, the wackadoo things that go on in this series all occur down in Lee County. In the last 5 Iron Bowls played at Tuscaloosa, the average score is Alabama 45-23. All right, that's over a 3-touchdown disparity. Now, Auburn can certainly win the game, of course, because this season we've seen everything happen. But to me, the probability is minimal as long as you do what you're supposed to do. And you can shut up all the nonsense coming out of there by your actions. And so go out there and drill those guys into the ground when it's game time.
Yeah.
And treat them like you treated LSU when you went into the backyard.
Like this bulletin board material is good, but I don't think you need that for this game, right?
No, you don't.
I mean, if you can't get up after getting your butt handed to you out of Norman, Oklahoma, then maybe this team is not who we thought they were. Maybe this team is, maybe the portal needs to be open, right? Push a few of these guys in here. Thanks for playing. Appreciate it. Take your crimson jersey with you and put it on your wall when you're 30 years old, and you can look back at memories that we should have had.
So you're going to see, how these young men respond to the adversity of all this that happened this week, and go from there. And look, your producer earlier said it great. Constructive criticism is necessary and it's required. All right, but one of the things you could have asked George Teague or Drew earlier is how much time they spent this weekend trying to lay out rational explanations of what they saw, and they were playing whack-a-mole with people who just want to fire everybody, right? And and that ends the conversation with me. If you want someone to fire, look in the mirror, all right?
All right. I got you. Well, I get what you're saying, but
you can be angry, Ryan, but you can't be an idiot and be angry, all right? Because people say things all the time when they're angry that don't make any sense, and they don't give themselves time to cool down and look at the big picture, all right? I saw all kinds of Bama nonsense on social media this weekend after that game.
No, I did too. I did too. I mean, everything from firing Kalen DeBoer to firing this guy, firing this guy. We'll have plenty of time to discuss that. I don't think we're at that point. I think that at this point
we're nowhere near that point. And just for a point of reference, Brian Kelly will get fired before Kalen DeBoer, and Brian Kelly ain't getting fired for the next 2 or 3 years because of the buyout, and his buyout is far less than Kalen DeBoer.
I got you. All right, Greg, I got to run, man. I appreciate you. I hope you have a great rest of your day, man. Thank you. We'll continue with
Tuscaloosa, or you can shop online at TuscaloosaCDJR.com. At Tuscaloosa Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, you pick it out and we'll work it out. Roll Tide.
DanielMooreArt.com. Celebrate Coach Saban with the 2025 calendars and the gift packages there, including reflecting on the Gravedigger play with Jalen Milroe connecting and beating Auburn for that final time. You can check it out at DanielMooreArt.com. DanielMooreArt.com. Use the game, no space, with a special discount. You can also tell about that you heard about it here on The Game with Ryan Fowler. Deuces Wild. Jalen Milroe connected with Ryan Williams, Xavier Brown, sealing that Georgia victory. You can find the great Prince for that special Alabama fan in your life. It's DanielMooreArt.com. DanielMooreArt.com.
Seniors. Focus 50 Plus is holding a donation drive for items to help seniors enjoy the holiday season. Log on to focus50plus.org.
New Life Art is pleased to announce Daniel A. Moore's newest creation, The Legend, a tribute to Nick Saban, the greatest college football coach of all time. Celebrate his legendary 17 seasons and 6 national championships at the Capstone with your own limited edition fine art commemorative print or canvas.
Only here for a limited time. Shop now at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Dos Amigos, 69 North in Northport, in the Publix Shopping Center. Great Mexican cuisine, daily lunch special.
Hard to reach areas. Estimates are free by calling 205-799-9069. Expect quality exterior cleaning service for your home or business when you call Alabama Pro Wash.
Adams Heating and Cooling, local heating and air conditioning people that you can trust. Serving Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, the surrounding area since 1982. 205-339-6540. Offering that great tune-up special right now. Adams Heating and Cooling, 205-339-6540. Are you ready for colder weather?
Every game all season right here on your home for Alabama basketball. The Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Tuscaloosa Toyota, the 2025s have already started to arrive. The Tundra, the Tacoma, two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, the Camry, the Corolla, the Highlander, the RAV4. The service department, always great at Tuscaloosa Toyota. How about a Rent-A-Toyota program?
Legislation now.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Clouds gradually increasing this afternoon, the high 73. Cloudy tonight, a few showers are likely, the low 49. Tomorrow, any lingering showers ending early in the day. The sky becoming sunny, the high tomorrow afternoon at 60. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 75 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
College football season. And now is the time, though you have to have done your homework previously, but now is the time when the scouting really, really matters. Now you're getting to the big conference games, plus you have the bowl games, plus you have the Senior Bowl. You need to really have your evals. By my guesstimation, this is actually one of the real smart moves. They are going to drop the old napalm and start over. Right? Aaron Rodgers is not going to be back. They're going to have a new head coach. They're going to have a new general manager. They might well have a new logo next year. It's all going to look different. And with that, why would you give a guy a chance to see something when you haven't done the legwork of what changes you want to make along the path? And if you do it last week or 2 weeks of the season, you're not getting really a true sense because you're not playing against teams.
To get the rest of what Doug said, podcast it by searching The Doug Gottlieb Show.
Any way you want it, that's the way you need it. Any way you want it. She loves to laugh, she loves to sing, she does everything. She loves to move. She loves to groove. She loves a lot of things. All night, every night. So hold tight.
All right, so we got a lot of things to discuss, a lot of things to talk about. We're always powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com, 3325 Skyline Boulevard, and online at TuscaloosaToyota.com. We're doing a Daniel Moore Monday. Daniel Moore Monday. The good moments are sponsored by Daniel Moore. The bad and the ugly is sponsored by Alabama's effort and the SEC officiating. I look at the game, 24-3. My eyes don't lie. They always say proc eyeball, which is procedure eyeball. You procedure eyeball test tells you that Alabama just did not put the effort into that game. It's not like they had a good week of practice because everything we were hearing, they were dialed in, but the energy was not there, right? The nonverbals told you everything that maybe this team did not want to go to Atlanta. Maybe this team did not want to go to the college football playoffs. Hard to believe, but that's what it looked like. Did not have a lot of the effort there. Let's continue, and we'll take phone calls. I want to go to ABC 3340. Johnny Cogden had this. He did this video clip, ABC 3340. Johnny's a guy that worked at WVUA for a long time, now does an amazing job at ABC 3340. He put together some really good Auburn clips. We take you to DeMarcus Riddick, linebacker for the Auburn Tigers, given a lot of bulletin board material. This is what it sounded like earlier today in Lee County.
Ryan Williams is Ryan Williams. I mean, yeah, he's electric. He's all this and that, but in my eyes, he ain't really nobody to me. Ryan Williams is himself. He ain't no big time player to me. Like I said, Bama is a big rival team. Every rival team I played, I never lost to. And I will not lose to Bama while I'm here. I mean, he is a good quarterback. He's fast, but I mean, he's not faster than me. I'm pretty as that. Like, he will not get out that box this week. Ryan Williams is Ryan.
Oh, my heavens. ABC 3340. Wow, he was a January enrollee, so he's been in Lee County for a year. Wow. DeMarcus Riddick, we appreciate it. Thank you. Clanton, Alabama. Just keep it up. Keep it up.
Did he say that right? Did I hear him correctly that he's not going to lose to Alabama while he's there?
He's not going to lose to Alabama.
Does he not know that that's what Auburn does?
Something tells me he's a sociology major. That's a really good major across the state. I don't know. Maybe he's studying liberal arts. So
gender studies.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's good. So you can tell he's not taking engineering classes. I can promise you. Paul in Lincoln. Good afternoon. You're in the game.
Sounds like he's got a PhD, right?
Can you get those from Lee County? Do they offer PhDs?
Well, I'm sure you can buy anything in Lee County. Just ask Hugh Hefner Freeze. Ryan, Auburn Hate Week officially starts with this call, okay?
Okay.
Everyone knows my disdain, my loathing for this program. Speaking to you, Lee County. So yes, I'm going to. This will be my, as far as Alabama goes. This will be my only rant of the week.
Okay.
Because I've got some things I need to say.
Okay, right? let it go.
And let me get my disclaimers out first.
Jackson,
okay?
Record this. We'll put it up on Twitter and see if we can. Hopefully, the players will hear this because I think we got something coming.
I'm not calling for anybody's head to roll. Certainly not Kelly DeBoer, certainly not Nick Sheridan, none of the coaches. I'm not calling for that whatsoever. So I wanted to get that out because, like Greg said, there's been some crazy social media posts this weekend after that game. And I get it. It certainly was not the game that we all expected. I mean, I picked the game 34-13, I think, Alabama. So it was not the game I expected. But Ryan, I got to tell you, I was so. And listen, I want to say this too. Prior to NIL, very, very rarely, especially on talk radio, would I ever call out any players. Because at the time they were going to school, playing football, and that's basically what their life was all about. But now that's changed. A lot of these players are making more money than I'll ever make in my lifetime to play college football. Okay, so I don't have a problem calling people out. Okay. So that I've told you for a couple of years, Ryan, for a couple seasons, put it that way, that Jalen Milroe turns down contact. He has no problem running away from contact if everything's clear. But if contact is coming towards him, he's going to turn it down. He will turn down contact. It's happened time and time again. Early in the game Saturday night, they ran the quarterback power around the right. Jam Miller is in front of him blocking him. If he just follows Jam Miller up the hash mark, he's got an easy first down, and probably 10 to maybe 15 more yards. But what does he do? He stops, takes a hard right turn, trying to bail to the sidelines. And he gets stopped 3 yards short of the first down. We don't convert. We have to punt. He turns down contact. And the pick six was I'm telling you, that is the worst effort I have ever seen.
I can't get over it. I can't get over it. I mean, I'm sorry.
I can't either. I've watched it countless times, and it doesn't change. It looked like he was trying to slide into second base, trying to leg whip somebody. Jalen Milroe is built like Tarzan and plays like Jane. Think about that. He plays like Tarzan. I'm sorry. He built like Tarzan and plays like Jane. He had a chance to knock that dude out.
Yes, he did.
He had the chance. He had the angle. This is a 230-pound Adonis. This guy looks like he's been sculpted out of. I've heard you say this, Stone Mountain granite.
That's my word.
That's your word. Stone Mountain granite. Yet he turned down the chance he turned the contact down. That's inexcusable, Ryan. Sometimes you got to make a first down. You got to know where you're at on the field. And certainly with the game on the line, you know, we're down 17-3. Who knows? If you knock him out of bounds, you could hold him to a field goal. You could force a turnover. And listen, they may have went on in and scored, but we'll never know it because you cowered down. You turned the contact down. That's been my biggest gripe with Jalen for 2 seasons. I just don't understand it. I hear people say, "Well, he's making a business decision." What business is it? Is it lank? Is that why he turns contact down? Is he saving himself for the NFL?
I mean,
I don't know,
to
Ryan.
me, that play, it's more than just that play. Okay, that play helped us identify the effort that he put into that play. But it shows you that there may be something there deeper there. I'm asking the question. But when you look at that moment and you look at that effort, I have to question other plays now. I didn't have a lot of evidence to question other plays and the motivation. Now I do. That play was as embarrassing as of a play as I've seen in a long time around here. Disaster.
It was pathetic.
It was.
Do you think Jake Coker would have turned down that contact? Jalen Milroe has more talent probably in his pinky finger than realistically Jake Coker has. But by gosh, Jake Coker was a man. When he needed a first down, by gosh, he was going to make something happen. He was going to do his best to get that first down, run somebody over. I mean, you know, he threw his own self-interest to the wind, and I've never seen an Alabama football player turn down contact like Jalen Milroe. I just haven't. Listen, I like the kid. Let me get this out of the way. I like Jalen Milroe. I think he's a heck of a good kid.
A lot of us do. Listen,
yes,
I've tried to support him.
But that doesn't hide the fact. Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
it doesn't hide the fact that he turns down contact. I just don't understand it. And why? I'm with you. Why in the world was he not escorted to the bench?
Yeah, that would have been the moment right there. With 8 minutes to go, I would have said, all right, guys, third quarter, 8 minutes to go, 8 minutes and 16 seconds. I would have said, all right, it's time, because that would have made it 24-3. I'm a little bit, and I get it. But listen, Jalen Milroe's a guy. His highs are super high. His lows are as low as you can go as a player. And that was.
I mean, what do you think the rest of that team, if they were being honest? Let us be. If those players on that team, whether during that play or during film session yesterday, if they had the guts to show it, what did they think about that effort? That is a team captain, okay? He is a team. He's one of the voices. I mean, who's the first player that after Alabama wins the game they go to at midfield? It's Jalen Milroe. And
now he can't go out there and say, "Hey guys, I'm laying it all on the line." He can't do that. He
turned down the contact. I mean that's it. You can say what you want to, and some folks may not like his call. That's fine. I told you this was going to be my only rant of the week. Okay. Because I'm turning my focus towards the boogers.
Yeah.
Because here's another thing. We cannot allow Coach DeBoer We cannot allow Auburn to come to Tuscaloosa and get bowl eligible.
Yeah,
we cannot allow
this
that.
This is your
Coach.
chance to, and right now they're looking at it going, hey, Alabama's vulnerable. We can take them. We can take them. They got some confidence. Alabama, how are you going to respond? How are you going to respond?
Of course. I mean, you hear them chirping over there now. But we cannot let Auburn come to Tuscaloosa, a 5-6, mind you, Auburn Tiger football team come to Tuscaloosa, okay, on senior day, and become bowl eligible. We will never hear the end of it. Okay, never hear the end of it.
Well, and listen. If it happens,
yeah.
I mean, you're in a spot. This offseason is going to be long. And I'm not talking about long as in days. I'm talking about difficult. It will be hard to spin it to a positive.
Do you remember the last time Alabama lost to Tennessee and Auburn in the same season? 2006.
Okay, I was sitting here going, I'm going year by year by year. I mean, you beat them 16 years in a row. So, wow.
2006. You know the last time Alabama had a 5-game winning streak against Auburn, and we've got the chance to do it this Saturday in Bryant-Denny? The last time Alabama had a 5-game win streak over Auburn was 1977 through 1981. Wow. We've got something. They've got something to play for. They're playing for bowl eligibility. What do we have to play for? Is it pride? Is it the state championship? Is it to get a 5-game winning streak?
And this is where Alabama's at a disadvantage because Alabama sets their highs, their standard on winning a national title, winning SEC titles. They're not able to.
Well, that's out the door.
Yeah, that's out the door.
That's out the door.
So now, as you said, it's a test of your manhood. This is a test to see how much do you have? Because if I saw some lack of effort, I'd open up that portal and I'd say, all right, maybe this crimson jersey, maybe you haven't earned the privilege to wear that crimson jersey.
Yeah. Jalen Milroe, prove me wrong. Please prove me wrong Saturday.
Amen.
In Bryant-Denny Stadium.
Great call.
Prove me wrong.
Hey, Paul.
All right, buddy. Roll Tide.
Thanks, man.
Yes, go ahead. Roll Tide, roll MAGA.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Let's continue. Let's go 205-342-9904. We go to Mary over in Atlanta. Mary, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
Okay, Ryan. How are you?
Not worth the flip, to be honest with you. It's been a pretty bad couple of days.
It hurts. I'm not gonna lie, it hurts. Weekend was not great, and I'm a little disappointed. There's a lot of mistakes made that I saw, and I agree totally with the stuff that Paul said, stuff that you said earlier in the show in the past hour. That was not our best performance. I don't think so.
No, it was not. It was an awful performance. Mary, I must tell you, I'm having a hard time in memory of going back and thinking of games where I thought Alabama just didn't show up.
Right.
I might be able to go back to 2010, but I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard time of trying to justify this in my mind, the trip to Norman. And it's not all on Jalen Milroe. I get that. There's other players. I mean, C.J. Dupree, if you made a block and you catch on that first drive, then maybe Alabama gets off to a big start. So there's responsibility that we have to hand out a lot of different guys. But when you look back, I'm having a hard time thinking about performances that were I don't care.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you something.
Okay.
Do you feel like the reason why we played so poorly is because that we were so overly confident that just because we're literally down to the last shot of this season, okay? Like we had Saturday night, got the Bullets this weekend. Were we so overly confident that we could get a clean sweep to make it to a conference title game?
But this team shouldn't have been confident. I mean, listen, they were able to beat a bad LSU team in Baton Rouge. They came back, they beat Mercer. Where did the confidence come from?
Could it be just because that we want it so bad because we literally are the standard? but because we want it and that's what we do. I feel like that could have been just a small detail in the back of our heads because we know that we want it. That's what we strive for every season because we are the standard. But because, like you have said, I've heard you say it constantly throughout the season, this is the new college football.
It is.
We may not like it, but this is just where it is.
No, and I listen. I almost feel like that we have not given Oklahoma enough credit. I mean, Brent Venables had 2 weeks to prepare. I mean, he shut down one of the most explosive offenses in history of Alabama football. Right? I mean, you go back to the trip to Santa Clara. So Brent Venables is a heck of a football coach, and he's got some guys on there that have Alabama ties, co-offensive defensive coordinator and defensive line coach Todd Bates. So you got to give credit where credit's out there. And this is the new college football. But I'm not talking about I'm just talking about the nonverbals of this team. The way that they showed up with everything to play for and a team that had only won one SEC game. It's not Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt had a decent season, probably when you think about it. But this was a team that had only beaten one other SEC team, and that was Auburn. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And we let them beat us 24-3.
It's pitiful. I mean, it's literally like a child's game, it sounds like to me. That's what it feels like. And part of my good that I could comment on, Oklahoma's defense was good. I can't deny that.
But we knew that going in. We knew that going in. I feel like that we thought that defense was going to be one of the best. But the offense was a joke. But I mean, when you give them 3 interceptions, my. I mean,
it's hurtful, and I don't see how you can be a voice of reason in this. There's got to be a voice of reason somewhere. I get it that I don't put all the blame, like you said, on Jalen. I don't. I can't blame it all on the coaching staff either. Whole group effort, like you said before, it's a group effort. There's things you got to improve on, strategize better, discipline. Morale's definitely down because of this. I know that for a fact. It's got to be down. But my thing is, going into this next game, Iron Bowl, I am pumped. I mean, I'm not as fully pumped as I want to be. I am excited that it's going to be at home. But just don't let this get to your head going into this because this is the final string. Don't let it get to your head. That's if I had the opportunity to give a message to the players, that's exactly what I would say. Just don't let this go to your head. We got to stay focused, guys. That's all I can say is just we got to stay focused.
Great point. Hey, Mary, thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
You too. Roll Tide.
Thank you. R&R Cigars, Reagan and Randy Starner, 2703 6th Street, 2703 6th Street. Know a lot of time people take a little bit of Thanksgiving time off. Maybe it's Monday Night Football. If you're planning on coming for the weekend, maybe we can get that victory cigar ready. It's R&R Cigars. R&R Cigars, 2703 6th Street, Reagan and Randy Starner. Downtown Tuscaloosa. Relax and recharge. Robert and Mo at Northport Power Equipment. All Husqvarna and Echo Outdoor equipment, Crest, handheld tools, battery-operated tools will be 15% off. This will be a one-day sale. Weed trimmers, blowers, chainsaws, pole saws, edgers, brush cutters, both gas and battery are included. And just for an example, right, the 455 Rancher, which I have one of those. I have another one that's a little bit bigger than that, but several chainsaws. $549 is the regular price. It'll be on sale for $479. You got the 525L trimmer, regular $349. It's on sale for $289. You've got the handheld blower. Regular $199, be on sale for $169. We've also got walk-in mowers in stock. Husqvarna, Massport, Crest, Skag commercial mowers, residential will be 15% off. That is a killer deal. I mean, think about that. This will include all walk mowers in stock. Husqvarna, Massport, Crest, and Skag walkers are 15% off this day. All Husqvarna consumer homeowner mowers, including riding tractors, 0 turns, will be 10% off. Let that sink in just a little bit when you're thinking about it. I mean, some great deals. See the dealer for complete details. But that's Northport Power Equipment, 2 blocks east of the Northport Civic Center. They're closed they're open until 5 p.m. a day. They'll be open tomorrow as well, 8 to 5. Wednesday as well, 8 to 5. They'll be closed on Thanksgiving. They'll be back on Friday for your chance to go out and see Northport Power Equipment. So, hey, listen, I've got a garage, or not even a garage, more of a workshop full of tools, right? Many of those I use, many of those that are hanging like trophies, right? Just like a national championship trophy. If you're out there looking for Christmas presents, you're thinking about it, would ask that you would patronize those great businesses that allow us to be on the air, like Northport Power Equipment. Let's continue, and we go to Robert in Mobile. Robert, good afternoon. You're in the game.
Hey, man.
How are you, Robert?
Well, I guess we can change overreaction Monday to this could be called Meltdown Monday today.
But I think it's deserved when you go and lose 24-3. Fair?
Yeah, it's absolutely fair. There's no, I mean, I didn't hear any comments I haven't agreed with. You know, it's all fair when we're playing as poorly as we are. And like one of your previous guests, caller said, the trouble with Milroe is his ceiling is extremely high. His ceiling makes us the best team in college football. But his lows, it makes us unable to beat Vanderbilt or to beat Oklahoma, a bad Oklahoma team in Norman. That's wherein lies the problem. It's, you know, this trajectory for Alabama, we was hoping we'd get a curve, but it's been a wave. It'll be a high at the beginning, then a low. And another high. We beat LSU. Now we're back down to the low again. It's turned into a wave.
It's been a big roller coaster year. Robert, are we being fair to Jalen Milroe?
I'm sure. I mean, all you can do is criticize what you see. You have to comment on what you see. It's not being mean or evil. You have to comment on what you're looking at. And they're just highs and lows. His lows makes us teams that can't win, can't even beat mediocre teams. That's the trouble. His highs enable us to beat anybody in the nation. And there just doesn't seem to be an in-between there that, your lows maybe this is an off game for you, but we're still able to beat a mediocre Oklahoma team. We may not be able to beat a Georgia team today, but with your low game, but we can beat this team. And hopefully you'll get back on your high by the time it comes to playing Georgia again. But that's not where it is. It's, your lows, then the effort looks like, man, I think Paul brought up a good point when he avoids the contact. He should avoid contact as the quarterback, yes. However, when you're avoiding contact,
when you're trying to win the game, you're trying to prevent them from going up. And there was no effort. I mean, you are the safety valve on that. You let him by, and the hole becomes very. I mean, you knock them out, and there's a chance that they would still score some points. But you gotta show some respect there. I mean, you got to respect the game. That moment to me was a low moment. And listen, the next time I put on a Crimson jersey will be my first time. But that moment. That's an embarrassing moment.
There are times you avoid contact, and then there are times you made it on. Now, if you don't go contact just to get another yard when you already got the first down. No, you don't need first down. You avoid your contact there. However, like you mentioned earlier, there was a chance you could have got a first down had you just stayed in the middle of the field and kept following your blocks. Yeah, you would have got some contact, but hey, there's the first down there. And like you said earlier, you don't avoid the contact when you throw an interception and you're the only thing between that guy and the end zone. You don't avoid that contact. No. So there are times you avoid contact, but there are times when you, as a quarterback, but there's times when you can't and you shouldn't. Hey, there's a first down right there. You get it. Don't avoid the contact, especially at that point in the game. And so therein lies that problem. And like you all kept saying, he's turned into a one-trick pony. And if you stop that trick, he has nothing else. And that's not going to be good for him going to the next level.
And everybody screams for new plays. There's only so much that you can do, right? I mean, if they take away that, you can't run plays that he can't run. So it tells you, and listen, they've solved the Jalen Milroe riddle.
Yeah.
And now it's his job.
It's
his job now to adjust. And I'm talking about Nick Sheridan, Kalen DeBoer, Jalen Milroe as a combined effort. Yeah. They have to come up with something different because I'm going to tell you, this is the part that nobody wants to hear. And listen, I hate giving Auburn compliments, but that defense is going to travel over here on Saturday. It's pretty dadgum good.
Yeah, I very arrogantly said I wasn't worried about Auburn before, but then I very arrogantly said I wasn't worried about Oklahoma. So that's the trouble. If you get this team on this low, I was thinking their low point is still capable of beating Oklahoma and Auburn. And it looks like no, their low points are not capable of beating mediocre teams in the SEC. No, it's not.
Yeah.
And that's what's the problem. Right now it's 50-50. I think right now it's 50-50. It's 50-50 if we beat Auburn. I wouldn't have thought that a few weeks ago.
We're going to learn about this team. We're going to learn about the future of Alabama Crimson Tide football because, Robert, I'm telling you, if we lose this game, it's going to be a long offseason that you've allowed. Now, if you close the door on these guys and you slam it in their face and you look at the Auburn Tigers and you say you just lost your 5th game and no longer a winning season, okay, you hand that to them and you give them a losing season and you say that's number 4 in a row, 5th in a row, you fear the thumb. But you also could not beat us during some of our low moments. That's a big statement. But if you allow them to come into Bryant-Denny Stadium, and Alabama fans, I'm on my hands and knees pleading with you, throw the tickets in the trash. You don't need the money that bad. Do not sell them to an Auburn fan. Don't allow them to take over this stadium. Please, I'm on my hands and knees pleading with you because I know it's convenient to throw in the towel and you quit and you mail it in. I get it. But I'm asking you, do not sell your tickets on a StubHub website where somebody that you don't know and load them up with blue and orange fans. They'll soak up the market, and that's just not fair. I mean, come on, guys. We got a lot. We talk about pride on Jalen Milroe. We must have pride. Don't go out here. Give them to your Sunday school teacher. Let somebody go
Auburn
with
would never
you.
do that.
Yeah. No, I hope we don't.
Auburn would never do that with their team, no matter how bad they are.
Amen.
They would never do that.
Amen.
Yeah, but so we should definitely not do it.
Throw them in the trash. Throw them in the trash.
Yeah.
But let your Sunday school teacher go. Give them to your preacher, whoever. I've got a few tickets myself, and I'm making sure cautiously that they don't end up in the wrong hands, and that's just all I'm saying. I'm making sure that hey, you know what? I'll take less than market value, just simply to put just to put Alabama fans in the seat. I mean, and I'm not even looking to I'm just looking for face value, but it's So anyway, I'll leave it at that.
One more thing before I go. This is already the worst season we've had since 2010. When we lost 3 games that year and pretty much same effort. We're only one game away for it to be the worst season since Nick Saban first got there.
Yeah.
And like your previous caller said, losing there, Texas, Tennessee, and Auburn.
But also, absolutely. So, I mean, and plus you can tie, if you're Kalen DeBoer, you can tie Frank Thomas with the highest win total as a first-year head coach in Alabama. Then you go and win a bowl game and you surpass him. You win 10. Listen, there's some great positive signs. I'm not here to cancel, sell all the stock in Kalen DeBoer. I'm not there yet. I think this guy is going to be really, really good. Is there some adjustments that need to be made? Absolutely. Does he know that better than I do? Absolutely. But there will be. I think once they get a lot of their players in, this is going to be, listen, we knew this going in, Robert. I'm not trying to take over your phone call. I apologize, but it's the hardest job in the country. There may never be a harder job than to replace Nick Saban in the history of sports.
Really? One more thing, too, before I go. If Milroe decides to come back, which, I mean, it's a chance because the draft stock has dropped quite a bit. No, Robert,
please don't, man. You'll give me a headache. Oh my Lord, please no, Robert.
But if he does, then it has to be a really open competition. It cannot be Jalen Milroe's job to lose like it was last time.
It can't
has
be
to be a really open competition.
It can't be. I'm going to win the locker room. I've got everybody by the gonads. Right. You're going to have to start me. Because I feel like a lot of that was a part of this job. He won it because he had the locker room by the you know what.
That cannot be the case anymore. So if he comes back then it has to be a genuine open competition. Genuine. Not like what's the last time. All right, guys.
I agree. Hey, thank you, Robert. We appreciate that. We're going to Barrett Sallee coming up in a couple of minutes. Tripp, you're going to be the first caller after this. We want to get to everybody we possibly can because I know that, listen, venting is part of it. Listen, I've vented too. I called several people yesterday, right, just to let my frustration out. I'm ticked off. I'm mad because I thought this Alabama football team had a little bit more in them. This guy, he set up rat poison. He praised Alabama. He threw 2 interceptions on Saturday in Norman, Oklahoma. He fumbled the football during practice. This guy's done it all. We're blaming him, too. We blamed everybody else. We might as well. Why are we stopping now? Barrett Sallee, outkick. Why did you do that, Barrett? Why did you do that?
I apologize. You know, I'm a double agent. I really didn't want Alabama in the playoff, so I did all that I could to prevent it from happening. And, you know, I have that power.
Well, it worked. It worked. It worked. Barrett, give me your evaluation of what happened in Norman.
Well, I think first things first, the Oklahoma defense deserves a ton of credit. We knew the defense was good. In fact, we knew it was elite. I think the problem with Oklahoma, and it's been that way all season, is that the defense can't do everything, and eventually it gives out like any good defense does, right? You know, just can't carry it all the weight on your shoulders. But I think what they did in terms of slowing Jalen Hurts on the ground and forcing and turning mistakes into touchdowns, specifically on a pick six, obviously, but making it hurt. You know, not just intercepting the ball, making it hurt, doing it, getting yourself set up in short field. All of those things were big. But then also the lack of effort for Alabama was embarrassing. I mean, it looked like they didn't care. And I go back, and I said this on my show today, go back and look at the bubble screen that was intercepted. It was supposed to go to Ryan Williams, and I can't remember who was out supposed to be in front of blocking, but neither of them did anything. They just kind of stood there. And it's like, wait a minute. Like, you're in sort of a do or die situation. You know, you're in a dogfight, and you just don't have any effort. Like, that's not okay. And look, I know Ryan Williams had the great catch, and maybe that should have been, you know, a touchdown, whatever. But I mean, the lack of effort that he had on that play, on a huge play, and then whoever was supposed to be the blocker, I don't know, it was either 6 or 9. I don't remember who it was, but
on the pick six, or I mean, on one of the interceptions.
On the interception on the bubble screen.
Yeah, that was 6. It was Kobe Prentice.
Was it Kobe Prentice? Okay, I couldn't remember who it was, but it was embarrassing. Like they didn't care. It was odd.
All right, I want to go back to, because we've kind of picked up on this a little bit, and we've been a little hard, and I want to go back to the pick six with Jalen Milroe and the lack of effort that he showed to get the player. Mm-hmm. That's concerning, Barrett Sallee.
All of it is. They have tuned out, and I think that's abundantly clear. It's not just one or two people. It's all of them. Like, the lack of discipline has been there all year. The effort in a lot of spots has not been there. It culminated against Oklahoma, but it almost, looking back, it looks like that slowly but surely you got into a situation where 85 people were going in 85 different directions, and it all kind of came to a head in Norman. Yeah, I mean, it was the effort. I mean, let's be honest, Ryan. Nick Saban would have murdered somebody had that performance happened, because it was, the lack of effort is just alarming, and
all right,
that's inexcusable.
And I'm not trying to take it for Kalen DeBoer, okay? But I do look at it and I say this is the new college football. I mean, Nick Saban getting out, can you coach players difficult anymore? I mean, can you? I mean, Brian Kelly did it, and it kind of backfired on him.
Yeah. You know, I think the biggest thing is you have to learn how to talk to each of them individually instead of as a unit, right? Like, you know, you could go, if you're a defensive backs coach, you know your room, you know what you have to do to motivate them, right? Now, you have to know the individual. You have to know how to treat each and every one of them. You can't just rip into an entire running back room, because one of them is going to get pissed and leave, right? You have to be able to talk, know the personality of each one of them and approach them individually, instead of a unit. And that's just, it's a lot. It takes a lot of time. And, I heard Kirby Smart say last week that it took him a while to figure out how to talk to individual players, and he still hasn't mastered it. And so that's just the new era, man.
Barrett, I look at this game, though, and we're saying this, but you must go back. I mean, you're playing for, at that point, the Missouri Tigers had beat Mississippi State. You win, You're there. I mean, you literally said, no, I don't want to go to Atlanta. No, I don't want to go to the college football playoffs. I mean, that's what your nonverbals told me.
It's from the moment toe met leather. From the moment toe met leather. It was, it's everybody's to blame. And if you're an Alabama fan, it's one thing, and I said this on the show today, it's one thing to go 9-3. No one's had to replace a guy like Saban before. Kalen's an outsider, so it's going to take him a little while to get his sea legs. Fine. Like, going into the season, you can say that. But after seeing how the season has evolved, it's not okay. Like, this is not what Alabama signed up for at all.
Is DeMarcus Riddick a prime example why we shouldn't let freshmen talk to the media?
Yeah. But here's again, you can't have that rule anymore. That rule,
no, I know. I'm being sarcastic, but
and for us, it's great content, right?
We thank DeMarcus.
No, I'm sure y'all are very happy with him.
But you know what? He may have saved the game for Alabama. I mean, I also saw some comments a couple of minutes from Cam Coleman.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at this, if you keep your mouth shut and you slip in, heck, Auburn may win this football game. But
they're capable of it for sure.
But to me, you just poked the bear. You did something unnecessary.
But here's the thing, and you're right. But that means something different now than it did for the previous 17 years or whatever it was, right? If you poke the bear against a Kalen DeBoer team, especially after what we've seen this year.
Oh, I see where you're going.
How much does it really matter? And look, there's no way to answer it. Like, I don't know the answer at all. We'll find out. But, I think in years past, you knew exactly what you were going to get because Nick Saban would take that and run with it. And, whoever would have taken that and run with it. But this team, if Alabama's already checked out, I don't know how much quotes like that matter. I wouldn't think they'd care if they don't care about winning a game against Oklahoma and going to the SEC championship game and going to the playoff. I don't know how much they're going to care about an Auburn player talking some smack.
All right. That's a great point. And I think where Auburn has the advantage in this rivalry game, and I'm not talking about this weekend, I'm just talking about in general, is they recruit nationally, but they also have a lot of in-state players.
Mm-hmm.
I always, when I would go to Auburn, I would always watch the other sidelines, and I'd watch the energy coming from the blue and orange, and I'd look at Alabama and I'd go, they don't really get it. They don't get it. I mean, it's like funeral home dead. You can't play this game funeral home dead.
No, you can't. And I do think that's a really good point because players who have grown up around that know it's different. And I think for Auburn not recruiting at a high level, as high of a level as Alabama, and getting in-state guys, those in-state guys can spread the passion to the players from outside the state, right? I think for Alabama recruiting nationally, the in-state guys will do what they can, but a lot of the national guys, the guys from California, they're gonna be like,
why do those guys hate us so bad?
Yeah. Like what are you talking about? It's a disconnect. And so, that's something that is real. In-state guys for this rivalry, that matters. But I think more importantly, it matters how they communicate that with the rest of the roster. And if it lands, if it resonates, because it might not resonate.
But if this Alabama team has anything, guts, whatever you want to call it, this team will respond different. Surely they're not. I mean, if they lay down in this game,
man, Oh man.
I mean, Barrett, I'll be honest with you. I mean, if Kalen DeBoer doesn't win this one, it's going to be a long offseason in Tuscaloosa. I mean,
I would say it already is going to be.
No,
but
I do agree. But I mean, this is one that you can salvage because Auburn's coming here going for a bowl, right? I mean, are they already at 5-7?
No, they're 5-6 right now.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right.
But that's the thing is they're a pretty good 5-6 team. We saw that last week.
So
they've gotten better.
But I thought so. Is losing teams? Okay, so if it stopped right now, they'd be. But there's all these new bowls. I mean, I thought you could have a losing record and go to a bowl game. Is that not?
You can, but it's on API. I don't know where they stand in API.
Okay. Well, it's Auburn. I wouldn't expect very much, right, Barry? Sorry, that was you put that up on T, baby. I'm sorry.
You know what? The true story. I went there and I got a C in kayaking, and I didn't even know I was signed up for it. True story. No, racquetball.
Did you really?
I'm sorry.
Did you really?
I signed up for racquetball. I didn't know that I signed up for racquetball. I never went to a class at all and got a C.
Where do you think the committee will have Alabama? And do you believe that there's still a mathematical formula for Alabama to backdoor this thing? I don't. I'm not in.
No, there's not.
Okay,
there's not.
I mean, we're writing stories, and I get it where it's not mathematically impossible, but this team's not earned the opportunity to play in the college football playoffs.
No, not at all. I mean, I think they'll be 15th, 16th, somewhere around there, 17th. But no, I guess there probably is some way, but it would be like Indiana losing to Purdue and Vandy beating Tennessee and, Maryland beating Penn State, all that stuff. But that's not going to happen.
All right. Barrett, I want to go back to Jalen Milroe for just a couple of minutes. When you look at, do you show him the door?
After the season?
Yeah. I mean, he's got one more year.
He does have one more year. That's right. You open it, see if he walks through.
I mean, you say, listen, because Barrett, I'm literally tired of blaming people. I mean, we were going through it during the break a couple of minutes ago over in the room, and I mean, we've blamed every wide receiver possible. We blamed the greatest football coach of all time. We blamed coordinators. I've lose count. Bill O'Brien, Tommy Rees, Nick Sheridan, Kalen DeBoer. At some point,
I would open the door for him. I mean, but see, here's the thing: is you kind of do that every year anyway, right? For every quarterback, unless you have, a superstar, you always sort of say, okay.
Let me throw it out there. It's going to be like spitfire here. All right, let's just say Jalen says I'm going to play another year in college, hypothetically.
Okay.
And he puts his name in the transfer portal. What would be the market?
That's a really good question.
Because there's limitations there. I mean, you got major limitations.
Yeah, back end college football playoff team, maybe.
Oh, no, I'm saying what would be the market for him as far as schools? Would his phone be ringing off the hook, or would it just be
it wouldn't be ringing off the hook, but I think there'd be a market for him. There would be. I mean, you're not going to go out there and get, a national championship contender's not going to go out and say, I'm going to get Jalen Milroe to do it. Nah, I mean, I think it would be okay if we're right on the fringe of playoff contention, or, we kind of got screwed by the transfer portal and we want to make a statement. Well, let's go do that. But I don't think it would be like top tier teams.
Barrett, are you ready for this next month of college football? And I'm not talking about the playoffs. I'm just talking about National Signing Day. I'm talking about the portal opening. The content guides, we appreciate you, but entering the holiday season, we got a little time with family and friends. I mean, Barrett, are you ready for this?
No, I'm not mentally. I'm really not.
I'm not either.
It takes a lot.
That's the issue and I'm talking about in general, the chaos that is about. And listen, we're talking about it from a media perspective. Can you imagine these coaches trying to coach through this for the next 30 days?
No, and that's why they get paid a lot, and they earn every dollar of it right now.
Every single bit of it, yes.
The next month plus sucks for them, all of them.
Simply a crazy. Barrett, I'm going to throw it back to you, man. Promote everything that you're involved in, please.
Yeah, follow all the social media accounts at Barrett Salee. You can subscribe to College Football Smothered and Covered on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, all those places. SiriusXM on Sunday mornings, and columns up on Outkick.
Outkick. Barrett Salee, happy Thanksgiving from all of us. You going to make it over to Tuscaloosa? I mean, I know this is from not a national level, but...
I am actually going to Georgia Tech on Friday night.
That's not bad. Yeah, that's...
Yeah. I've seen Georgia. This is the third time seeing Georgia Tech this year, including Ireland.
You give the Yellow Jackets any part of a chance?
Yeah, they got a chance. They're pretty good. They got a chance.
Chaos in the world of college football. I've never been more for expansion because I think it just matches up. I think it matches up with college football.
It's going to be a fun weekend, that's for sure.
Hey, Barrett, appreciate you, man. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Ryan. You too.
Thank you. Barrett Salee helping us out there. We'll continue with more of the game. Todd, 100.
The safety. It didn't matter if we went to the short side of the field. And if you go to the short side of the field, there's generally just a safety or an outside linebacker. But they didn't even have that. But they had it where Ryan, when he pulled the ball, went to the outside, there were going to be 3 guys outside waiting on him. Which means what? They were giving up the run up the middle. That's why when we called run plays, we got 5 yards of carry. Because they were not playing the inside game. And we never think about when we came out, Ryan, and we would run the ball, and we'd have first down and second down and 5, third down and 1, first down. And then we do that 2 times, and then he would call the run play to Jalen. And we would lose a yard, or we'd get stopped at the line. The inability, he said he wanted to get other guys in the game, well, give the ball to the running back. What did Oklahoma do? Oklahoma took advantage of what we were doing, Ryan. And let me explain. You know why the run game got even better when Lawson got hurt? Everybody thinks it's because Lawson is a better defense, more physical. And that may be part of it. What were they doing? They would fake the ball like they were going to run to the outside, right? And then the quarterback would run a dive. Because we were scraping so fast and they had numbers on it. And all our guys were running outside. Quarterback would just cut it up. He would just let us flow and pick his gap. And they did that all night, and we didn't adjust on either side of the ball. What I would have done, Ryan, is I would have ran it, play action. We finally get to a point when we're down 24-3. Now we want to throw the ball deep. Really? You can't. We don't do great pass blocking at any point. Why do you think we're going to be able to pass block when they know we passed it? Play action pass, run the ball. That's what we should have done. The running backs average 5 yards a carry.
But Martin, I say this with kindness. We've blamed everybody for Jalen Milroe's shortcomings. We've blamed coordinators. We've blamed receivers. At some point, we have to put that back on the quarterback, do we not? I mean, some of it's got to be. I mean, the common denominator is Jalen Milroe. I mean, is that fair?
Tell me what Jalen did wrong other than the one pass that he threw the pick six.
I mean, I think there's probably a lot.
Oh, not what the result of the play was. Tell me what he did wrong.
Well, I'm saying that they can't run other things. I mean, something there. I mean, why would they not call this? I mean,
Ryan, they are the coaches.
They are.
If he's the best they have.
Listen, I'm not doubting he's the best. I've said that all afternoon. I think Martin. I think he is. Listen, you don't have any other options that are ready right now. They might be ready next year. They could be ready in the spring. But no, I do think he's the best option. But I keep seeing all these limitations, and I'm going, why can they not do this? Why? What's the reason
that you're talking about, Ryan? He in the first part of the game, he threw the ball to Ryan Williams. First down, he drops it. He throws the ball to Dupree. First down.
And CJ, if he'd have made the block and then also the drop that was right behind that, who knows? This game might get off to a better start, and you could have got the crowd out of it. I mean, so there's other responsibility. I agree.
Here's the interesting thing. You want to know what Jalen should do better. I actually do know stuff that Jalen messed up on. Okay? The passing, our offensive line,
yes,
he was throwing the ball before the receivers even got to the top of their route because it was the pass protection was so bad. But at the beginning of the game, see, I'm an old fullback, Ryan, and it bothered me that everybody went off on Dupree. That was not Dupree's fault. That was Jalen's fault. Go back and watch that play.
What he should have been inside there on that?
He went inside. He should. How many years I've told you? Press the hole. I kept going. Press the hole, Jalen. Stop trying to make. Let me tell you what happened. In this game, we decided Jalen was going to do what he did against LSU. Jalen decided he was going to do what he did against LSU. The coaches didn't adjust, and Jalen didn't adjust. Jalen could have gotten 4 or 5 yards every time he ran the ball, if he had ran the ball like a running back runs the ball, like you're supposed to run the ball. Listen, on the Dupree one, let me give you an example, and go back and watch it from the end zone shot. He's coming, and 28 is coming. He's coming toward Dupree. On that first play, he's coming right at him, and Jalen cuts inside. And Dupree is expecting the guy to – Jalen is on his hip, his outside hip. So Dupree knows that, okay, Jalen's right there. He's going to stay there, so this guy's going to come to me. All of a sudden, Jalen jumps inside, and Dupree is going to hit his guy, and the guy goes inside. If he had pressed that run, he would have got at least 4 or 5 yards, maybe more, okay? I mean, easy play. He made a cut off of a guy way outside that he didn't have to cut off of. If he presses the hole, Dupree blocks that guy, Jalen picks that run. The next play, Ryan, should have been a 15-yard gain. Go back and watch. Proctor is out in open field.
Listen. That offensive line is not where it needs to be. I'm with you. I mean, Elijah Pritchett.
No. Proctor was correct. Jalen, instead of following Proctor, he cuts and bounces outside. If he follows Proctor, go back. I'm telling you.
Okay, well, I think we're on a different play. I'm sorry. Okay.
It was the next play. It was the second play of the game where he bounced. I think it was the second play where he bounces and he falls to the outside, and he ends up. It looks like he's going to be able to play, and then he runs and he bounces to the outside, and it's like 3 guys. But if he presses the hole, I showed my wife. I rewound and I said, "Look, baby," I said, "Watch this." I said, "If he stays in there, boom, all of a sudden it goes." Now, to me, that's what happened. Jalen was trying to. Sheridan was determined to make it work, and Jalen was determined to make big plays versus taking the yards. That's number one. Number two is when you say what can they do with Jalen, you run what he can run, Ryan. How many times did we throw the ball deep early in the game? What's his best pass play, Ryan?
It's a deep ball. It's not even close. I mean, he's one of the best deep ball percentages out there.
Huh?
He's one of the best deep ball percentages out there.
So if they are committed to stopping you, throw it deep. But Jalen, he got better. Is he as fluid a passer as other guys? No. So give him more of what he can do. Don't try to make him something he's not.
Hey, Martin.
This was Ryan. Let me tell you what I text. Let me tell you what I text during the game, Ryan. If you ask the question, what do you do? What would you do? I text and said, "Is it time to give Ty a shot for a series at least?" that you shouldn't. You know why I said that, Ryan?
Why?
I said he needs to see it from the sideline, and I give you a couple examples,
Sure.
Ryan. What happened to Jalen Hurts when he got to watch the game? Remember how you
wow. Yeah, it's simply amazing. I mean, he made it. I mean, it probably changed his entire career path.
It did. Why? Because remember, I used to always tell you, man, the kid has not got the he doesn't have anybody around him to help him, and he never got to see it. If he has a coach who could help him and show him and talk to him on the sideline, then if he actually see it, it would change things. And let me give you another example. Have you watched this Carolina Panthers since Bryce Young got to see it thing from the sideline?
I haven't.
Huh?
I mean, I saw the stats, but I did not. I did not watch it yesterday.
He's a different quarterback. What happened to Jalen Milroe last year after he got to see stuff from the sideline? I'm not saying you bench him for the entire game.
No. Yeah, I agree.
The only place you can really substitute, Ryan, when your team is struggling, the only place you can put running backs in, you can put linemen in, you can put wide receivers in, you can put safeties in. But when you have a game going the way that game is going, it's really you almost have to try something. You cannot do it. Now, of course, you know, the touchdown that got called back may have changed things a little bit.
Yeah, it was awful. It was awful. But a complete disaster. I mean, hey, Martin, I want to transition. I'm at 27. I want to give you some time here at the end. But Jackson, I want to play a quick audio clip. This is courtesy of Johnny Cogden at ABC 3340. I don't know if you've even heard the audio, but I want you to hear it. And this is, I'll take you to Auburn, Alabama. This is DeMarcus Riddick. He is a true freshman who made some comments. I'm going to play this quick comment. I want to ask you in that locker room if this would grab your attention. This is what he said earlier today about Ryan Williams in this upcoming Alabama game.
Ryan Williams is Ryan Williams. I mean, yeah, he's electric. He's all this and that, but in my eyes, he ain't really nobody to me. Ryan Williams is himself. He ain't no big time player to me. Like I said, Bama is a big rival team. Every rival team I played, I never lost to. And I will not lose to Bama while I'm here. I mean, he is a good quarterback. He's fast, but I mean, he's not faster than me. I'm pretty as that. Like, he will not get out that box this week. Ryan Williams is.
All right, and then so he made that comment. Then Cam Coleman came up and said Alabama's the next stop on the Auburn revenge tour. Quote, really a revenge tour. We're going in their place. We're really just going into their crib, and we're going to take over. And we're going to have fun while we're doing it. This is going to be some of the best memories we make in a memorable game, end quote, Cam Coleman. As a competitor, if you hear that from your rival, how would you respond?
You don't need anything in a rivalry game like this, Ryan. But I don't know if it's a rivalry game for Alabama. You know,
that's scary. That's scary.
I think the Iron Bowl means more to Auburn than it does Alabama.
You know what? I think fans wise, it doesn't. Player wise, right. I think you're spot on.
And so if I was Hugh Freeze, I would have told my team coming after that big win, if they meet on Sunday or if they don't, I would have had a message to all our players. Do not say anything that gives them any reason to focus, because they're as low as they have been in that program in 20-something years. This is the lowest they've ever been, and we are as high as we've been in a while. We are even though they have a better record than us, we're right now sitting in a better place. So don't give them anything that gives them a focus, that gives them motivation. And to me, I wouldn't need it, but I think this team does need it, and I think it will help Alabama.
I do too.
In a way, because now they're talking about they're going to come into your house and beat you. And this is a 5-5 team or 5-6 team?
5-6 at the point, yeah.
I mean, let that sink in. if you don't have pride in that situation, Ryan.
Yeah. You know what, Martin? If you don't have pride, take the crimson jersey off, throw it in the basket, and go hit the deadgum portal.
That's right. If this team don't respond to that, if they didn't have enough already, if they don't respond to those two statements, they just think they're going to come into your house
and have fun doing it.
And they're 5-6. Let that sink in. This time last week, Ryan, you and I were talking about Alabama's going to cause a meltdown in college football. In 1 week, we're now talking about a legit threat from Auburn. And I think it's a legit threat if Hugh Freeze is capable enough of sticking to a game plan. They do what we don't like, Ryan. They will run the ball downhill, and they have a serviceable running quarterback. Hugh Freeze has been watching that Vanderbilt film since we lost. They don't have a bye week, but I guarantee you he has ran plays in other games preparing for this game. If we come out and do not come 8 in the box and force him to pass the ball, Ryan, I'm telling you, this staff has to be reevaluated because they are going to come in here to run the ball down our throat.
Yeah, they will. Yeah. Well, and I need Freddie. Yeah, I need Freddie Roach's defensive line to come and play for football. I mean, we know what they want to do.
Right. But will we give enough? It's not just the defensive line. You have to have enough in the box, Ryan. We had 5 and 6 in the box against Oklahoma, and they had their 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th receivers out there. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. You have to put 7, 8 in the box. I know it's not what you do, but what you do won't work against these running teams with dual threat quarterbacks. It has to be different. And
I got to get out of here, Martin, because I'm at 32. Hey, throw it back to you and promote everything, and we're going to get to this break.
Well, hey, I know you need to go, so I won't take long. Hey, listen, go to martinhouston.org, and you can find out all the great things that have going on. 2 major things I just tell you to look for is empowerment strategies and solutions, where we speak, we coach, we train, whether it's leadership, sports banquets, Christian events, and we also work in the schools in our nonprofit doing financial wellness to help with students and low income and fatherhood initiatives. So between those things, we speak, we coach, we train. You can find out about all of it at martinhouston.org.
Hey, Martin, thank you, man. I know people will be excited to hear you tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. here on Tide 100.9 as we get ready for another Iron Bowl weekend or Iron Bowl week. Thanks, Martin. I hope you have a great day, man.
Thanks, Ryan. Roll Tide.
All right, we'll come right back. We're taking Tripp. He's first up. Tripp will be first up. Elias will be second up, and then we'll get to all the phone calls. We don't have any other guests the rest of the way. We'll continue right here on the game. T-Town, Tide, 100.9, 1230, WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We have an accident at Highway 82 eastbound between Old Montgomery Highway and Bradley Road. And we have some long-term road construction 15th Street southbound at 2nd Avenue. And we have some
Nonprofit offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
Blue Spring Living Water, a great spring in North Alabama. It's Alabama local and 100% made in the USA. Give yourself the gift of better health this Christmas season. Save 20% off using a code GIFT2025. You can have your water delivered via Waterway of Birmingham. You can also have it at Blue Spring Living Water. You can find it at Publix. You can find it at Piggly Wiggly. Mark's Mark, one of our great sponsors, and they always provide our injury report. Don't think about Numa, which is oxygenated water. We all need oxygen to live. You need more of it? Try the high oxygen spring water, and you can find that on Blue Spring.
Pride ourselves in having what our customers need and having the customer service you've come to expect.
North Ford Auto Supply. Why go anywhere else?
Blue Spring Living Water, a great spring in North Alabama. It's Alabama local and 100% made in the USA. Give yourself the gift of better health this Christmas season. Save 20% off using a code GIFT2025. You can have your water delivered via Waterway of Birmingham. You can also have it at Blue Spring Living Water. You can find it at Publix. You can find it at Piggly Wiggly. Mark's Mark, one of our great sponsors, and they always provide our injury report. Don't think about Numa, which is oxygenated water. We all need oxygen to live. You need more of it? Try the high oxygen spring water, and you can find
$100 in value. So you'll save big on 3 great gifts. Hurry into Verizon this Black Friday. Service plan required for watch and tablet. Up to $1,900 value based on phone, watch, and tablet. Trade in and additional terms apply. See Verizon.com for details.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Clouds gradually increasing this afternoon, the high 73. Cloudy tonight, a few showers are likely, the low 49. Tomorrow, any lingering showers ending early in the day. The sky.
Food for half price will be available starting this Friday morning at 8 a.m. Log on to Tide109.com and click Seize the Deal for more details.
Med Center Urgent Care Family Medicine, no appointment necessary. The super doctors who live and work in our community. If you're a little under the weather, we got to get you back to 100%. You can do that by visiting either location, Northport, Tuscaloosa, Demopolis, Fayette, North River, right off Rice Mine Road, Hoover off of Highway 150.
Or find us on Facebook, Andrew Conifer Agency. Once again, you can reach us at 205-722-9201. Allstate, are you in good hands?
Northport Power Equipment, Husqvarna dealers, Skag, commercial mowers, and residentials, Echo Outdoor.
To enjoy. There are also other great sponsorship opportunities. You can learn more at NorthportBunnyTrail.com. That's NorthportBunnyTrail.com.
Never miss a moment of the action.
Get your patience. I'm sorry I couldn't get to you earlier. Welcome into the game in Tuscaloosa. Hey, Trip.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Ryan. I want to have like a two-way conversation for a little bit or whatever, as long as you let me.
Yeah,
but for sure. What I think is we have a lack of leadership on this Alabama team, and I can give you some examples of that, and of course you could too. But I'm wondering, what do you think? What do you think about that?
I think there's some good leaders on this team. I think we need more of them.
Okay.
And so in your way of saying that, I agree with you. I think there is a lack there. Trip, it's hard for me to throw the players under the bus because they didn't have to be here. It's kind of like when I go back to the early 2000s when the NCAA popped us in the mouth and they busted us. I mean, they ripped us to shreds. And those players didn't have to be here. But they rallied around. It's very similar to this. They could have all hit the portal. They could have said, you know what, I'm not going through those growing pains. And many of them did. And in a lot of ways, you lose a lot of respect for those guys that jump out when the fire gets hot. I look at it from a standpoint of I salute the ones who stayed, but I'd love for this team. And listen, this team's full of youth. There's a ton of young players in this football team that are playing very crucial roles. I mean, that we just kind of like assume, okay, hey, Bray Hubbard, yeah, you. I mean, that's a true freshman out there. Xavier Brown, true freshman. Jalen Mbakwe, true freshman. I mean, you just go the list.
Awesome.
When these guys get to be, I mean, even next year, we're already seeing it take some. We just need more leaders. And I think they're going to cultivate that.
Okay. All right. With all that said, everybody's throwing the coaches and Jalen Milroe under the bus. And listen, I'm not going to do that, but I am going to say something about Milroe. He is, listen, Saban and the media personnel at Alabama have trained him to say the right things.
Amen.
Amen.
Exactly. Amen. But, he is as trained as any player in the media as I've said this a million times about Jalen Milroe. He's as good in front of a camera in a microphone setting as any player I've covered in my career in Tuscaloosa. Not even close. I mean, I don't even know who I would put second. Maybe Barrett Jones, a guy that would, A.J. McCarron was good, but Jalen Milroe may be the best I've ever covered as far as in front of a camera.
Yeah, but what about on the sidelines? So when things aren't going well, what about that? That's a big deal, Ryan.
He may be one of the worst at showing his nonverbals. And I think that's something that is really hard to get by with as a quarterback. Because, you need that leader when things are going crappy. That's when leadership step forward. That's when they step up there and go, hey, guys, we're not losing this dead-gum game. I know I screwed up. I'm going to play harder the next play. I'm going down. How many times have you seen him going down through that offensive line going, guys, come on, guys. Come on. We can do this. We can do this. Trip,
yep.
Have you seen it?
Yeah. Yep, I understand. And listen, the guy is a phenomenal athlete. But so what we both said is fine. But listen, we can blame the coaches all we want, but on the game plan, and he tried to hit home runs. He tried to go outside. If he would have just gutted it up and got hit or whatever and made 6 or 7 yards, staying inside the tackles, it would have been a different game. So I don't know what his deal is. The Tennessee game and this game, what was his head? Ryan, talk to me.
Well, I do know, and I've got it on some pretty good accountability and that's one of the reasons, Trip, I'm not trying to come clean here, but it was one of the reasons that I highly complimented Jalen Milroe throughout the season. And it's not that I was being disingenuous. I just know psychological, that is one of his biggest weaknesses. When things don't go well, it's tough. It's tough. His lows are really, really low. Tennessee, I know they had coached him out of the game against South Carolina, mentally trying to get him refocused, sports psychologist getting him. And then what happens at Tennessee? He goes down the field, he throws an interception in the end zone. Does he not?
Yep.
And at that point, it was gone. It was gone. Everything that they had worked to get that out of him was gone. And I'm not saying that I was being disingenuous. I just tried to highlight the positives rather than so many negatives. And there was a bunch of negatives. Listen, Trip, it's not easy. And I hope I'm not jumping off the cliff here now. But when you go back to Jalen Milroe, he has not had a passing touchdown in an SEC game since when? Can you name it without looking?
No, LSU, I guess. I don't know.
Nope.
Without
looking.
He had running, I guess. So,
no, I'm talking about passing touchdowns, which is where quarterbacks make their bread and butter. When's the last time he had a passing touchdown?
I don't know. Tell me. But
Tennessee.
Yeah, I hear you.
Middle of October.
Yeah, whatever. But that was for like one touchdown or whatever. But But see, listen, I hope he was great and everything, and he turns into Jalen Hurts 2.0 or whatever, and goes to the NFL and does everything. But I tell you what, I don't think his mind is as strong as Jalen Hurts is, and I don't know. I think, and listen, it's all about NIL and everything, and that's probably why Saban left and all that good stuff. But let's don't go into that right now. But I'm just telling you, his head, he needs to be a leader, and God bless him. It's over. he's got one game, and I mean, I hope to heck he goes to the NFL. I really do, because we need to move on and everything. So
I got
don't
you.
know.
Well, Trip, thank you, man. Thank you for your phone call. Hope you have a great rest of your day.
All right, I appreciate it, Bubba.
Right
Thank
back to you. And listen, Elias, let's go to Elias right here. Elias, good afternoon. You're in the game.
Roll Tide, Ron. How you feeling today?
Yeah, roll Tide, man. Roll Tide. Roll Tide. It's.
I'm a little under the weather from out there in Oklahoma, but I wanted to call in
Okay.
to remind you during the off season when you ask the question,
okay,
which game are you worried about on the schedule?
Yeah.
And I said Oklahoma because it's an unusual game to have right before the Iron Bowl, and it gets cold. Ron, I was at that game. And when I tell you, during warm-ups, no one was hustling and busting. Everyone was walking, going through warm-ups, halfway speed. You saw it. And my military buddy that was with me, he said, what is going on with these guys? Because we're football guys. We noticed that. When you get pumped up from a game, the weather don't matter. Anything doesn't matter. You are ready to play football because you love the game of football. But when I saw that, I said, it's going to be a long night. And the play that changed Miro, the way he played, is that first quarterback in the round, and that linebacker hit him in the mouth. We heard it. It was that loud. That changed the whole dynamic of him playing. And I really said, we are in trouble. That's why you notice the running out of bounds, to just falling to the ground or sliding or one putting forth their effort, because they were hitting him in the mouth. Now, on top of that, what upset me is you had not one offensive lineman cater to their quarterback to help him off the ground and say, hey, my bad for missing that assignment. Whatever the case may be, hey, let's make it up on the next play. No one did that.
Elias, I think this NIL portal thing has created a lot of individual players. But there's other teams that are they're able to navigate it. Maybe this was just too much for this particular team. But I see what you're seeing. I agree with you. And that's where Trent was talking about leadership. Elias, you're a career military guy. Somebody may not have ever heard you on this. You're a career military guy. Leadership is a trained skill.
Yes. And it is key to going across that water and getting back in one piece. I did it 3 times in a leadership role. And I had all my guys to come back in one piece of their family. And that is key in sports. And anything you do in life, you're the man or the woman of the house, leadership is key. And I did not see that at all on that field come Saturday night. And it was very, very disappointing.
And Brian Bosworth last week was on our show, and his first 4 minutes is something that we're going to go back to at some point. And I don't blame the player. I do blame the player. I blame the system more than I blame the player.
Yes. We did not adjust at all.
And I'm not talking about this guy. I'm somebody in general that has cultivated this individualism.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And, during the game, I'm just looking at the sidelines. You had no coaches trying to pump the guys up, clapping it up. Hey, let's go. Let's go. We still got this win. No one did anything. Why? Because they had their hands down in their pants, and they are cold.
Looked like they saw a ghost. The nonverbals were. You didn't have to ask any questions. You could see the nonverbals. They're nonverbals. What did I say? 70% of communication is nonverbal.
All you had to do was look at Milroe's face.
He looked. Yes, sir. He had the ghost look like, oh my Lord, and that's the issue. And listen, I know, okay, they were having issues that they were trying to coach that out of him. But I don't know if you can. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you can get it out of him.
No. That's why I always feel that you have the next man up ready when you're struggling. That's what he's there for. I don't know why we don't want to do it, but that was the whole point of having next man up in any position, because you never know who's struggling or we need a change of pace. Proven example in the championship game with Jalen Hurts and Tua. And I had called that, and my buddies thought I was crazy. I said it's something they did not prepare for, and it changed the momentum of the game that quickly.
It did.
That's why you have backup guys in place, ready to go.
I thought they should have went to a backup, and what really bothered me was, you make mistakes, and like I said, my next one that I make, on a football field will probably be my first. But I can also judge effort. And when that interception happened and he chose to do this, even Kalen DeBoer, and Kalen never calls out really players, but I mean, he didn't really call him out. He was asked the question. And he said, we got to have more effort out of that. Because, I mean, he can't even, when you show that in a film room,
Right. Absolutely. And receivers not getting any separation. They, again, what you do in warm-ups in practice, you do in the game. And it showed all game long.
Yeah, I got you.
All game long.
Oh, yes, man, this has been a great phone call, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. My good, you're going to laugh at this, my good is the guys had a safe flight home back to Tuscaloosa.
Okay. And that's sponsored by DanielMooreArt.com. 20% off any product using the code word Fowler. I can't think of a better one. That's about as good as you can get it. We have been lacking on the good. Thanks, Elias.
Yes, sir. The bad, I hate the injury to Ty Lawson, and the ugly, the individualism on the team, and we got to get that corrected ASAP.
Yes, we do. Yeah, we do. And I believe in Kalen DeBoer. I think this guy, the history's there, okay? Let him get his guys in. Was this the season that we were looking for? No. But I think, listen, you got to beat Auburn. You cannot lose to this bunch, okay? If you lose to this bunch, I may have a different opinion next Monday, okay? You cannot lose this bunch. Jared in Dallas, Texas, CoreToyota.com. We've got a lot of things talking about, a lot of things that we've discussed. It's 18. Don't ever forget this, okay? 18 national titles, 30 SEC titles, 147 first-team All-Americans, 77 postseason appearances, 45 postseason victories, 4 Heisman winners, the NCAA all-time scoring leader, and the greatest football coaches to ever walk the sidelines. We are talking little Alabama Crimson Tide football. It's not a big day. It's a disappointing day, right? It is. It is a disappointing day when you look at 24-3. It was a disappointing weekend. Okay. Now we got to pick up ourselves. Nobody's going to feel sorry for you. You've beat everybody's head in for the last 17 years, okay? You got to go get ready to play the Auburn Tigers. Jackson, talk to me. You got something on your mind.
You want to know an interesting stat?
Oh, no. Is it good, or I can't take any more
Vanderbilt, Tennessee, and Oklahoma, what do you think Jalen Milroe's total rushing yards were combined between those 3 games?
I don't know.
28 total yards between Vanderbilt.
That's what I'm talking about. His lows are extremely low. His highs are as high as you can get. His highs are like Heisman Trophy winning moments. His lows, look like me out there trying to play. Which is as low as you can go. Low. It's kind of like, I remember, what was the game that you would play that you'd go low? Listen, this was
Prize Picks.
No, it's a skating game that we would. You'd skate up under.
Oh, limbo.
Is it limbo? There you go. You'd go low. It would be, and then you get down to the ground and low. Jared in Dallas, Texas, you're first up. Good afternoon, Jared. You're in the game.
Hey, man.
You all right?
You'll be all right. But hey, listen. No one forces you to be a Division I quarterback. All right. If you don't like what comes with that, then don't do it, especially when you're making $1 million. What do you think is going to happen in the NFL? I was playing golf with my dad one time. He missed a 3-foot putt. One of his buddies said, "That's embarrassing." And he goes, "No, that's not embarrassing. I've been booed off the football field by 70,000 people. That's embarrassing." Yeah. You're going to get booed off the field, or you're going to get cut. I don't know what I am. The apologies. Take the names off the jerseys. This is not personal. This is business now, okay? And, how many more excuses, how many more
change the system, change this, do that, can we do? Okay? I mean, what's left? Call the opposing team's defensive coordinator and say, you need to cooperate with how we want to play this game for our quarterback. I mean, give me a break. Everyone has said, okay, not a pocket passer. Stop all that. Can't throw the ball. That's why we're not successful. So we run. And then when the run doesn't work, then all of a sudden it's run it differently. Okay, there's no mystery as to why what Jackson just said is true. Add South Carolina to that mix. What were his rushing numbers there? I told everybody last week to stop. You can see my app message. I sent one to you guys.
You did.
Oklahoma didn't forfeit the game. We still got to go play. The number 2 defense in the SEC, great against the run, and it's not a hard formula. Stop the run against us, play deep, and we're going to struggle. And we're going to struggle. And that's the bottom line. And the effort wasn't there. How do you think John Metchie felt watching that effort on that pick 6? Seriously. Think about the last time somebody intercepted the ball in front of him when he was playing for us. He almost took the guy's head off.
Well, I mean, if you're on social networks, I mean, the former players were chiming in. I mean, there was a ton. There was a ton that we're talking about, that. And it's what that play does is it allows us to see your mindset. Has there been other moments that we have not been able to identify?
Yeah, the fake jump shot against Tennessee.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, well, here's another thing. I can promise you this. When I was growing up playing ball, if I would have done that when I came off the field, some of my bros would have taken my head off. They would have killed me, and I would have killed them for that. I mean, because, listen, if that tackle is made and we stop them and we hold them to a field goal, or maybe not, it's 20-6. That's a 2-possession game. The touchdown made it a 3-possession game, which was a huge mountain to climb. There's so many things there. Look, everybody's got to take the emotion out of this, and we love this kid or we love that kid. These kids are making millions of dollars, like Paul said earlier in the show.
It's so hard to sit behind this mic and criticize Jalen Milroe. It's not easy. Jared, I mean, it is hard to sit here and throw somebody. I've done remotes with this young man. It's a challenge to criticize him to the way. I mean, obviously, you hear his commercials played on this station. I mean, there's a financial gain for us having a relationship with gentlemen, but that doesn't mean that my opinions can be clouded. I mean, at this point, I'd be a fool if I come in here and told you that he played better than what happened. And you know what? I'm pleading. I hope he comes out, has the best game of his entire career on Saturday. Absolutely. I hope we can stomp a mud hole in them. And you know what? If these comments by Auburn don't get you, like Martin said, you don't need them to get you fired up for this game. But this is a wake-up call. You now see the mindset of the Auburn Tigers coming in here.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And if that doesn't bother you, then Kalen DeBoer, you need to open up a basket up in that locker room and let them drop off the crimson jersey and get the blank out of here. Because
I agree.
And you know what? It can work two different ways.
Yes. Yes. And let me tell you something. That's another thing that is driving me crazy, Ryan, is all the DeBoer criticism. This guy, and I'm going to remind everybody, I'm probably making some people mad today. I'm sorry. Let me remind everyone, we had 30-plus players hit the transfer portal. He has 40 new players on this football team. He walked into an unprecedented nightmare.
And
nothing like that has ever been seen.
And the hardest job in the history of sports. Yeah. I can't think of any other job. Yeah. Not the New England Patriots when Bill Belichick retired. Not when Phil Jackson retired from the Chicago Bulls. This is the hardest job in sports, and he signed up for it. Now, there's some criticism that comes with it, and he's aware of that, I'm sure.
Sure.
But I think we owe him this. We owe it to him to say, you know what? We're going to be fair. We're going to let you get your guys in here. We're going to let you get your players in here. We're going to let you come through your coaches and make sure everything's ready to go.
Well, Ryan, he's only a couple plays from being 10-1 or whatever we'd be. I mean, he's done a remarkable job. He has had to be psychologist, everything. And he's held this thing together when he could have come in and it could have gotten a lot worse. I challenge anyone.
He could have stayed at UW. I mean, listen, what he was building, they were already calling him the next Don James up there. I mean, he was in a spot. I mean, and the other part is, I mean, I know this is probably minor, but, I mean, his daughter's committed to play at UW. He would have been able to watch her play softball games, to be able to support her from a local perspective. Now, you know, he's probably going to watch her through a television screen.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And you know, I heard it today from one of my Bama buddies here in Dallas. You know, we should have adjusted this, adjusted that. And I looked at him and I said, well, let me ask you this. How come Brian Kelly didn't just make some adjustments and stop our running game? Because he doesn't have the personnel. He did not have the personnel to do that. So he couldn't. You don't think he would if he could? And Kalen DeBoer gives you hints. Every time he gets in front of that microphone, Ryan, he talks about his playbook and being able to use his playbook.
Sure.
What he's saying is, I can't use my playbook. I can't use my entire playbook.
No, he's listen, I'm not going to tell you who I talk with, but I don't even think he's using a quarter of his playbook.
No, he can't. And that's not just on the quarterback. It's a lot of things.
Well,
and that's what I hope everyone will realize.
This is the other part, and this is not throwing Nick Saban under the bus. This is just speaking reality. Everybody thinks they walked into an NFL locker room.
No.
The last 3 or 4 years, we had been drifted. We had missed on some evaluations. We had some development issues. Yeah. I mean, you know, you have a Doug Marrone. You have a Coach Wolf, the offensive line coach. We missed on some guys. Yeah. Then you got to go out and you got to put Band-Aids on. You know, you don't have the best Band-Aid. You got to put multiple Band-Aids on. So like I said, I look at it and going, okay. I mean, he has a chance on Saturday to tie Frank Thomas with the most wins of first-year head coach in University of Alabama history. You guys can throw darts if you'd like to. I'm not going to.
No, me either. Hey, no way.
This guy is done. If this right here won't get you excited, right here, James Spann, which is our meteorologist here at Tide 100.9, here's you some Iron Bowl weather. You guys ready for this? The weather will be cold and dry on Saturday for this year's Iron Bowl. The sky will be mostly sunny, but temps will drop to 48 degrees for kickoff and 40 degrees by the end of the game. Woo! That gets you fired up. Come on.
Hey, Ryan, we're going to be fine. We
will be.
We're Alabama.
Yep.
We're going to be fine. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Thank you. Jared in Dallas, Texas. Let's continue. Corey, good afternoon. You're in the game. Hello. Corey, going once, going twice. So to the lady in the second row. She's an 8, she's a 9, she's a 10, I know. Oh, I'm sorry. Gone. All right. 205-342-9904. Let's go to Bubba in Northport and Biscuit Bruce after the break. Bubba in Northport. Bubba, good afternoon. You're in the game.
This ain't Bubba. This is Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A? Can I get that peach milkshake, please?
Oh, my gosh. It's good.
Yeah, but it's not on the menu.
No. You know they building a new Chick-fil-A over there by Lowe's in Northport, don't you?
I do. And I'm actually, because I live close to Lake Lurleen.
Yeah.
That's going to be perfect. Oh, it's going to be beautiful.
It is. Now, hey, on the way home, just swing by there right quick, get you a little dinner, a little half and half sweet tea, you'll be in good shape.
All right.
But
talk to me.
But get you know, I've been on Jalen Milroe's bus since day one. I've defended him against Joseph and all that. But with that said, that was the most pathetic play when he threw that interception that I've ever seen in my life. If he was playing for my high school coach, when I played, he would have dragged him off the field by his by his helmet and put him on the bench, and he would be lucky if he ever got back. I mean, that was pathetic. I turned the TV off, Ryan. I've never go away from a game like that. I left the place I was at watching the game. I left. I was done. It was just pathetic. And I saw it. I was telling the guy next to me who was watching the game when it first started. You ever seen a deer headlight? That's what he looked like the whole game. He looked scared.
Well, I think we talked about the lows of the lows and the highs of the high.
And you're going to find out this weekend on this football team who's going to have the gonads to go out there and put a beat down on those Bugs. We'll find out this weekend how bad they want it.
I got you.
And if they can't win against them, I mean, but I don't blame the coach. I mean, the coaches are coaching. I'm like you. They're going to have to get their people in there to do what they need to do. But this is this. Do you think the offensive line coaching is good? Do you think it's good?
I do like Coach Cap. I do. I don't know. I think from a standpoint of seeing more out of this group would be nice. Mm-hmm. But I think, and I really got to start at, I mean, Parker Brailsford has been a very welcome addition. Caden Proctor needed the spring more than any player of last year's team, and he didn't get that spring. Right. And you've had to kind of adjust because of the into the portal and out of the portal. That's been an issue. Right tackle. It's hard for me to believe that Elijah Pritchett is the best option we have at right tackle, but they're telling you with their actions that and I know that Wilkin Formby goes back to a game that maybe he didn't have his best game, but at times when he's been back in there, he's played pretty solid. I think I'd like to see them help out. The problem is you can't, you need the tight ends involved in the passing game.
Right.
But I think from a standpoint of it's highly frustrating. I love a good old offensive, and I think Coach Cap's I like his style.
Right.
But Bubba, one of the things that makes offensive linemen better is guys behind them pushing, grinding, pushing, grinding, pushing. I mean, the biggest competition or the biggest motivator is the bench. The bench is the biggest motivator out there. But it also, you need guys to push other guys. Who's pushing these guys? When you look at this offensive line now, they got a class that's coming in that's really solid. If you can hold on to these guys, I mean, you got some 5-stars that can come in and build that depth. I mean, this depth is very low. Right now, if you had a left tackle issue, you'd probably have to flip out Tyler Booker out to tackle. That didn't happen in big boy college football, man. That's tough.
No.
I mean, linebacker. I tell you what, if you want a big challenge, go to linebacker. And go to inside linebacker right now. Deontay Lawson, Blue Spring Living Water injury report. He's out for the season. He's gone. Okay. When you look, you got to slide Justin Jefferson in, which he's played a lot because Jihad Campbell's had to slide outside. But let's pray to the Lord. If you have an injured inside backer, Bubba, I don't know what they would do. I mean, you're in a situation now where you're having to play guys. I mean, not that you would take a red shirt off a guy, and you do have that 4-game limit on red shirt, but you're close on some of these guys. You don't want to do that. And I'm not saying that you can, but I mean, you're literally having to start true freshmen that have never played and ask them to be one of the most important positions on your defense. So the signal calling, what would you have to do? Would you move the green dot over to Jihad Campbell? I mean, according to Kane Waldmack earlier, he's playing so many different positions. Why is he playing so many different positions? I mean,
because they need him.
Well, because they don't have anybody else. I mean, you've taken a big hit at linebacker and defensive back. It was already a thin unit going in. That's why this portal is, and people say, well, it's going to be boring next few weeks. Are you kidding me? This month of December is going to be off the charts from a portal standpoint, recruiting standpoint. I mean, we want to get Alabama back to kicking butt and taking names. Well, biggest thing we got to do, go out and get some dudes. And I'm not talking about starting dudes, depth dudes. I mean, you got to have depth when you have an injury that you can navigate some of these issues.
I like what you said today about if he can't have enough pride to wear that crimson jersey, put it on the freaking, get out the door.
Lama, Red Wing, Georgia, Double H, Timberline, Laredo, and many more open until 6 p.m. We talked about Black Friday deals. They've always got some great deals happening right there. So, one of the things that I've always been conscious about, and I guess Stephen Rumsey taught me this many years ago, keep the dollar in the local economy. You look at the Wharf, locally owned and operated since 1976. Those are the folks that will sponsor your T-ball team. I don't think some of those online places, it's convenience, but keep the dollar in the local economy, right? Go out and support those. All these businesses that we highlight, many of them are locally owned and operated. There's some great national spots, but hey, keep that in mind when you look at a new pair of boots. Justin, Tony Lama, Red Wing, Georgia, Double H, Timberline, Laredo, and many more. Wrangler, Levi, Lee, Carhartt Clothing, Rocky Clothing, Under Armour Clothing. It is the Wharf since 1976. Let's continue. Biscuit Bruce, how are you, my friend? I hope all is well.
Always great to be on Tide 100.9 on. We got our butt whipped Monday by the Oklahoma City.
It still hurts. It still hurts.
It does. You know what was worse than watching it on TV, Ryan?
I know.
Sitting there in them stands watching it around all them Sooner fans. I got so tired of hearing Boomer, Sooner.
You spent a lot of money, and I know it was a good trip. Anytime you can spend family and friends, but
hey, it was a fabulous trip. The memorial for the OKC bombing, Federal Building. If you've never done that, people, take you some Kleenex. So you're gonna need it. Your wife's gonna need it too. But very, very touching memorial. Some of that was just phenomenal. Cowboy Museum, phenomenal. We had a great trip. Other than sitting there watching that game, was phenomenal. And you'll find this hard to believe coming off your commercial here, Ryan. I know you people out there are not going to believe this when I tell you, but I don't do any online shopping. Everything I do is in local stores here in our community. I try to observe all of them because I was a local owner at one time. I don't order anything online. You believe that, Ryan?
I like it. I like it.
Let me say, look, there's a bunch of things we can go down. We can go down the road, and people have expressed their opinion. First of all, let me commend Martin Houston for, in my opinion, finally saying that Jalen made some mistakes, because he did. And anybody that looks at it and says he didn't is blind, because he did make mistakes. And the comment he made about the piss poor effort trying to tackle that guy was spot on. I'm 68 and a half years old, Ryan Fowler, and I guarantee you, if I had the angle that he had, that guy would have never scored a touchdown. Now, at 68, I might have had to get my shoulders redone, but I can promise you one thing. If I'd have had 60 pounds and I was built anything like Jalen Milroe, that guy would have been hurting when I got through with him, because I would have pounded his head after intercepting that ball, which, I've heard another part program on your 100.9 declare that it was a great defensive play. I don't know how you can make a great defensive play when you're standing there and a man throws you the football right to your hands. I don't call that a great defensive play. I call it a sorry pass. And if anybody that says any different there is wrong, and better go back and play the replay, because I have. It just, I don't know. I've never seen anything like, I've never seen a captain of any team respond the way he responded to that situation, ever. And like one of your callers earlier, if I'd have been on that team when he hit the sideline, I'd have been in his ear and I wouldn't have shut up till I had to go in the game. There's no excuse for it. There is no excuse for it. The other thing I don't understand is why Ryan does when he come off the field, he goes down there and sits on one end of the bench by himself. You don't see him talking to anybody. You don't see him trying to pump anybody up. Most of the time, he's not looking at an iPad, and he's not talking to any coaches. Explain that to me.
I don't know.
I don't either. But I will say one thing about Kalen DeBoer. He has handled the situation well. He did get handed and lost some players, but he also inherited some real good players.
He did. No, he did.
So, yeah. So, but here's the thing, people. Here's what I want you to give time to. This is not, let me repeat that. This is not Kalen DeBoer's offense. This is an offense he took over and is playing to the best of his ability with what he has. So later down the road, a la maybe next year, by the next year for sure, because I think next year the man he brought with him is going to be the man. I think he's going to jump, and I think he's going to be the man, and I'll tell you why I think he's going to be the man, because he is what Kalen DeBoer desires. He is the man that'll run Kalen DeBoer's offense. And when you see that happen, people, you will see Alabama back way on top.
I think this offense is a system that we're not seeing. I spoke with a pretty good source.
It's an inherited system, right?
Well, and great coordinators adjust to the personnel that they have. I get all that. But this is not his system. I mean, he's going to.
No, it ain't Sheridan's system.
No,
it ain't what he's.
It's kind of like you. You were an axle guy, okay?
Yeah.
That'd be like asking you to fix a transmission.
Yeah, well, that ain't happening. I can give you a good transmission builder, but
sure,
it ain't gonna.
But I mean, think about the difference in building an axle and building a transmission.
That's exactly right. It's a totally different thing.
Not saying you couldn't do it. I'm not saying you couldn't do it. You could probably watch enough YouTube videos and connect this bolt and that bolt and that bolt, but it might look like here. Anyway.
It wouldn't run. I might build it, but it wouldn't run. I mean, come on now. You picked the hardest part of the whole vehicle.
I know. I did it on purpose. I
I know. Hey, and that's your analogy is spot on, Ryan. That's why I like. I don't get to call as much as I used to. I have a lot of things going on, but other than that, I listen just about teetotally to your program all the time.
Thank you.
And it's the most enjoyable program. And I listen to the other programs, some of them. Well, I ain't gonna get into that because it's not nice to say.
All right, here we go.
I do listen to some of the other programs, and I enjoy some of them. Some of them are, in my opinion, way too biased toward certain players. So, and that's their opinion. Everybody has opinions, but they think theirs is the total opinion and the total right opinion. And there is no wrong. So, so much be. Your opinion knows better than mine, but
Biscuit, anyway. I'm just about out of time right here at the end, man. I'm sorry.
I know you are, man. Look, it's the only time I could call. And look, man, look.
I tried to ask them if I could go to midnight, and they told me no.
Yeah. Just be patient, people. Be patient. Because Kalen DeBoer is going to take us places we want to go. I promise you that.
Yeah.
And always remember this. Look, even when I was on the way back from Oklahoma, there was one thing I always remember. We are the University of Alabama. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Oh, me, oh, my, oh, me, oh, my, oh, me, oh, my. Going to be a hard call. But he told us, and even though I disagree with his approach many, many times, he was right. Joseph, good afternoon. You're in the game.
What's up, Ryan Fowler? I told you I was going to call.
You did. And you got a lot of people out here asking about you. So, I mean, I don't know if you want to take your victory lap or you want to make me eat crow.
Hey. Brian Fowler, I got called stupid. I got called GED. I got called retarded. I got called everything in the book by Tommy Thunder and all them others that wanted to talk about me last week. But I don't look so dumb now, do I, Ryan Fowler?
Well, I will say that, it's easy to call, but, I noticed, we win those games. You don't ever call. You just have to conveniently have to work late. So, I mean, but take your victory lap. Go ahead. I mean, you've earned it.
I'm going to say this, Ryan Fowler. We should have inserted Ty Simpson. Not for the fact that I don't even think he's better, but you got to give the boy a chance to show what he can do, man. And I believe it's like I heard a caller on your show earlier say, I believe Jalen Milroe's got this team by the gonads. You know what I'm talking about? And that if anybody else plays, they want to play to their full potential unless it's Jalen Milroe. Well, you know what? It ain't your team. This is the University of Alabama. If you don't like who the coach puts on there, hit the door, hit the transfer portal. It's wide open for you. I'm sorry, but players don't run the program. The coach does, and the university does.
So are you an Alabama guy? Because you sound like you're really enjoying this 24-3 win. I mean, did you want to be right this bad? Because
I'm a big right. I've seen this coming, man. You can look at Vanderbilt. You can look at Tennessee. You can look at the second half of Georgia game. You can look at this Oklahoma game. You can see it coming, man. You can see that he's not the right man for the job. I'm telling you, all Alabama needs, Ryan Fowler, is a game manager, somebody that can read. Ryan Fowler, they walked the safety up when blitzed him, and Milroe couldn't even see it. He couldn't even see the safety blitzing, Ryan Fowler. You can't do stuff like that, man. And everybody will say, oh, it's the blocking. Maybe it ain't the blocking. Maybe he ain't calling out blocking assignment. Or maybe he ain't going, hey, look, this safety's coming on the right. You might want to watch. Like two of them used to call out stuff. They would call out in different stuff what they see on the defense. He ain't doing that, Ryan Fowler. You know what? It's funny to me. We had center trouble all last year, right? Well, guess what? Ohio State's got one of the best centers in the nation right now over there playing football for him because he hadn't had a bad snap all year.
He's not playing right now, right. But he's had a good year. But I some of that's changed the scenery. But Joseph, there is some validity to some of the things you say. Some of the things are just completely off the wall. But we have blamed a lot of people. We have. We blamed wide receivers. We blamed tight ends. We blamed offensive linemen. Poor old Nick Saban was not immune to the blame. We threw him completely under the bus and backed over him and threw him to the ditch and took the Rumsey environmental container out on him. We did. We blamed the greatest football coach of all time. So at some point it comes back to the buck stops here. He's not a perfect quarterback. Okay, there's not many out there. He's got his share of shortcomings. But at the end of the day, this is where you and I disagree. I think right now he's the best option for this team. Now you don't want to hear that. So, right? Well, that's where we disagree. That's okay. That's okay.
If he comes out this Auburn game, Ryan Fowler, we're gonna lose. I'm gonna tell you that now. But Alabama will lose the Iron Bowl if he comes out because Auburn's gonna study that Oklahoma film and they're gonna stop our run again, Ryan Fowler, because their defense is just as good as Oklahoma's, and they're gonna stone Milroe again. And one
of the things that wears them out is when you look at. their offense is not able to sustain a lot of drives, but that offense is starting to find a little bit of confidence. We're
the best in the world either.
I got you. All right, Joseph.
Our defense ain't the best in the world.
I might say it one more time.
Our defense ain't the best in the world either, Ryan Fowler. I'm trying to tell you, Auburn's going to give us a game to come at Bryant Stadium, and I don't think these players has got the grit that going to pull out a win. Because you want to tell you why? Jalen Milroe is not the University of Alabama's quarterback. He's a running back at quarterback. That's all he can do is run. You put him passing the ball, you beat Alabama. Game plan is simple. You stop Alabama's run, and you prevent the deep ball, you beat Bama. That's all there is to it. And it cannot be that way. You cannot be one-dimensional and win a college football national championship. You cannot.
I got you. Hey, Joseph, wish we had more time. I was trying to give you as much as victory lap as I could possibly give you, but, you were right and I was wrong, and I'm man enough to eat the crow for you, man, or the sure serving. So hope you have a good day, man, and it kind of bothers me that you enjoy this much of a loss, but anyway, so be it. Tommy Thunder going once, going twice.
Hey, I'm here.
Okay, there
Fine.
you are. Sorry. Yep.
Yeah, I don't want to scream in the phone, but
You're okay. You're okay. I'm sorry.
good.
That's probably on us.
Yeah. You know what? I know I quarterback everybody down on him, and Joseph is just so gleeful. I've never seen a true Alabama fan so gleeful to watch his team of school lose. And I remember 2 years ago when I picked Tennessee, Dawson lit me up like a Christmas tree. I was a Fairweather fan. What in the world is Joseph? I want to know what the definition of a Fairweather fan is. If that's not it, I don't know what it is. Yeah, I called him stupid, and I called him pathetic. He he can't make quick decisions. Well, guess what? The Ole Miss quarterback didn't make good decisions Saturday. Guess what? He had 3 picks. Guess what? A 5-5 team in Florida beat him. Same thing happened. Guess what? Auburn was at 4-16 and beat a team. They had them by 21 points. Everybody's just so scared of Auburn. Well, guess what? They like to blow that game. Let them talk, let them think. But I will tell one thing to the Alabama nation. Get behind this team. Show up Saturday and make noise and support this team.
And please.
Get off your ass and quit sitting on your hands.
Amen. Come on, Tommy Thunder. Come on.
You want me to bring it by George? I'll bring it. Oh, he called me names. Well, Jesus, I've been called names by better people than he ever was. So.
And listen, if you're so desperate for a couple of dollars to make it, throw the tickets in the trash. Do not allow Auburn fans to soak up some of these tickets. I'm not saying that Bryant-Denny Stadium is going to be blue and orange, but don't give them the opportunity. Please don't. Throw them in the trash. Don't use them. Give them to your Sunday school teacher. Give them to your preacher. Give them to your neighbor's son that's never been to an Alabama game.
That's right. Get behind this team.
Come on, Tommy.
The boy is our coach and the team. All right, he don't have all his players. Yeah, I'm disappointed because we laid not an egg. My brother said an egg. I was going to say a turd, but we did. You can't polish it. Let's move on and get behind this team and focus. You know what we want, Ron Fowler? We want to win the Iron Bowl. Yeah. The Iron Bowls matter.
Right.
I don't want to have to listen to them son of a gun for 365 days a year.
Come on. All right, Tommy, I gotta squeeze in some calls right here.
I know you got Jumbo. I'm sorry, Jumbo, but I'm on road. Road Tide. Talk to y'all later.
Great call. Thank you. Tommy Thunder fired up. Jumbo, you're in the game. I hope all is well. Jumbo? You must have chickened out. All right. Jumbo going once, going twice. Blueberry Steve, Montreal, Canada. Blueberry Steve, good afternoon. You're in the game.
All right. So, Ryan,
I got 1 minute, so I'm
make it very quick. I love Tommy's call. You know what? We got to support our team. The horrible call by the refs on Ryan Williams' TD that was called back.
Embarrassing. It was embarrassing. And you know what's more embarrassing? That we've not even had an SEC announcement. Not one. Not come out here and go, guys, we apologize. We screwed you in the butt. We apologize. We apologize.
It was their plan all along.
I'm not saying Alabama lost a game because of that, but we're sorry, Alabama. We didn't get that one right.
Oh, it was
crickets. Crickets from the SEC office. Crickets.
It cost us more than 7 points, Ryan. It cost us more than 7 points. But like, I love Tommy's call. I really did. But I like Paul's call. You know what, Jalen, prove to us what you can do. I'm willing to give him another chance. I don't believe like Joseph knows what he's talking about. I really don't. Joseph, I think, has other darker motives. Let's just say that for his, I just believe in that. But
yeah, and I'm out of time right here, man. I got like 10 seconds.
Okay, roll tide. We'll talk tomorrow.
All right, thank you so much. I do want to remind you here, it is the Vinny's Pub, the venue, Vinny's Pub. We're going to be offering Seize the Deal on Friday, 8 a.m. We'll do that. We'll go live, and your chance, Tide109.com, just like we did a big little coupon, and your chance to score up on that. TheStandardBama.com, home of the 20-inch pizza pie, pepperoni, meat lovers, cheese. Design your own. It is TheStandardBama.com. Be a great place to celebrate the 20-inch pizza pie. TheStandardBama.com. We'll do it again tomorrow. We'll do a Southern Ale House score prediction day. We want to thank our law enforcement officers, EMTs, firefighters, first responders, highway patrol. We thank you guys. We appreciate you. We remind you that we call this program The Game, and the only way that you win the big game, the game of life, is to walk daily with our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Good night, T-Town.
Thank you for listening to The Game.